the truth.
They want the truth. They want the truth, but they can't handle the truth. A lot of people can't, and I can promise you right now there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that got their head in the sand, and it's not even because they can't see the writing on the wall. It's too scary to even begin to process for a lot of people. Welcome to another edition of Bek Reacts, right here on the Bek Lover podcast channel, where I go over everything that's important in the world, things you may know about, things you have no idea about, and I give you my forecast. And for those of you that have been paying attention for a very long time, and especially to those of you that I grew up with, went to school with, family members who all called me crazy, who all said I was out of my mind when I started trying to warn people 26 years ago that America was on a path to destruction. When I was warning people, and now imagine when 25 years ago inflation wasn't what it is today, and people had these hopes and dreams and job security, and their kids were going to school, and then they would get a job and get married and buy a house that was a little more affordable, and then you start a family, and the cycle repeated itself for a very long time, all while we were losing our morals, while we were allowing scumbags to control the world, all while we were too busy with bread and circus, and that's why we're one of the most obese nations. I happen to be one of them, unfortunately. We ate so good and having good times and drinking and dancing and Sweet Caroline, yeah, yeah, yeah. You would hear the music echoing throughout the bars and the nightclubs of America. Sweet Caroline, yeah, yeah, yeah. While the country was being taken from right under our feet, that we, the people, became nothing more than serfs, and the noose around our necks slowly was tightened, while most of us, Americans, and the West were not paying attention. While we were distracted with wars on terror and what could be coming, look over here, don't look over there where it really matters, like your First Amendment, like the right to free speech, like term limits for our politicians, like lobbying should be made illegal. We may already be too late. To be honest with you, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I'm trying to be, I got to give it to you how it is. Why is everyone saying no sound, bro? I got to give it to you how it is. And now, how come I can't hear myself on my headphones, bro? Like, what's up with that, dogs? Like, seriously, bro. Like, can we get it going, dude? Like, you know, I got to tell you that, you know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I know that all you see out there is bad news and doom and gloom. And, you know, at least my algorithm, my algorithm, if you guys, most of you, just to get on my algorithm and scroll up or down on Instagram, TikTok, or X, you would probably jump out of a window. You would probably jump out of a window. Most of you, if you saw my feed, because I have to, right? I got to scrub the net. I got to look at what I think could be real, not real, what's good, what's not good. Are we in trouble, not in trouble? And I trust my fellow Americans. I trust my fellow citizens around the world. I trust the guy with a camera trying to predict and showing what's going on the ground than I will ever trust any of the mainstream. We are the news now, me and you, my friends, for as long as the internet stays up. But today we're going to cover a lot of stuff, man. We're going to cover the national debt and that we've reached the point of no return. We're going to cover the fucking clown, the scumbag, in my opinion, I think he's an agent, I don't know of which government, to create chaos in this world, to make Americans hate each other. Jake Lang and what happened in Dearborn. We're going to talk about the AI. We're going to talk about the noose that is coming for our necks. We're going to talk about there will be no escape. We're going to talk about the bio chips planted into medicine. We're going to talk about the drones that Walmart has released. We're going to talk about it all. So if you want to stay here and, you know, be ha ha ha, kumbaya, go watch a comedian's podcast, even though my whole life all I ever did was try to be funny and laugh. And I always knew in the back of my mind these days would come. I didn't think they'd come this quickly, but they came. And so I have a duty. I have a duty to all of you. to do my best. I'm not God. Only God knows the exact future. And all praise and glory belong to that Creator who sent messengers and prophets throughout time with his books to guide humanity. And a lot of what we are see happening right now, whether you're a Jew, Christian, or a Muslim, regardless of which three of those faiths you are, you can start to see the writing on the wall. Whether you're a Christian and you believe in the book of Revelation and the mark of the beast, the Antichrist, whether you're a Muslim and you believe in the Antichrist also, a little bit different than the Christian version, but very similar. Only God knows when that day will come, but there are conditions that occur and happen before those days come. I was always obsessed, unfortunately, and now I think I know why. I was obsessed as a young man when I first woke up to the reality. And a lot of these things you had to kind of imagine, and could it really be like that? And the internet had just come out and we weren't really there technology-wise, and I could never have imagined that I would be able to see my family in Albania right through my phone, when in the early 90s, they didn't even have a telephone line in their village. So to understand the world that I've seen is an advantage for my generation. For you guys that are, I would say born after the internet, you'll just never know what the world was like. It was very different. And it has become very artificial, superficial, very fake. We're more connected than ever, yet we're more divided in reality. So we're connected into technology, right? I can see my cousins. I barely hear their voices. I used to dream of hearing their voice when they lived in the village, and once a year, Happy New Year. Now they could literally call me like this, boop, in 2 seconds, and I don't hear their voice. And it's not because they hate me. It's not because we have problems. It's the world. Life has consumed us, and we've lost what's important. We've lost what's important as far as family, as far as honor, as far as morality. So we're more connected than ever, but we are more disconnected from being a human being than we've ever been, in my opinion, in the history of humanity. Imagine to be as connected as we are, and people feel lonely. People are hopped up on antidepressants. People are taking their own lives. So imagine that with all this tech, we're more lonely now than we've ever been. So you tell me why. Let's get damn, what's wrong with this thing, man? How do I pull that up? I can't. I'm trying to get some stats here, but I just want to give you guys a picture before I get into the stories. Make sure you show some love on the super chats. Make sure you click like. Make sure you share this. Let's get it going. It's going to be a decent stream today. What percentage, of people use antidepressants in America? Let's see. Okay, so about almost 20% of people, right? 1 out of 6 people is depressed, and they need a pill just to get through the day. Okay, so we've never been more connected, but disconnected as a species. It's sad. It's troubling. It's heartbreaking to see the world that we live in. And this wasn't the way it was. Okay? What percentage of people heavily drink? Right? About 6%. So about 1 in 12 people, can't get through the day without drinking heavily. So, our brothers and sisters in humanity are struggling. And a lot of our brothers and sisters in humanity don't have the knowledge, or they keep their eyes closed and they just deny reality. People are depressed because they are spiritually not intact. You have to take care of your soul. You have to take care of your mind, and you have to take care of your body. I'm failing on the body part, but that's the top of my list. I have been through depression. I have been through loss of life. I have been through poverty. I've been through a lot of the heartaches that a lot of you are going through. And without spiritual connection to the Creator, I would have never survived. I would have never made it. I would not be doing what I'm doing today. It's what got me through. It was my light. It was my hope. And all a human being really needs to have is hope. So as negative as these broadcasts can be at times, I'm here to give you hope. If you believe in the God of Abraham, peace be upon him, if you believe there's a Creator, if you know that God is real, then connect to your Creator and have hope. Just like Moses, peace be upon him, when he was against the sea and Pharaoh was closing in and he saw no way out, and he said, for a second, he got scared. For a second, He was terrified. For a second, he was like, where am I going to go? My back, my people, they're coming in. And then he said, no, indeed, my Lord is with me. And the Red Sea parted, bro. So hold on to your connection to the Creator. Cry out to him in your moments of fear and anxiety. Know that this life is going to end no matter what happens anyway. No matter what happens. The sky falls down. We starve to death. EMP, whatever's coming, World War III. You're going to die anyway. So get comfortable with that. Accept your reality. You should be more worried about what comes next. Because no matter what you do and I do, we're not getting out of this alive anyway. Do you understand? Even if you have the beautiful mansion and you have the car and the Rolls Royce and a jet and 5 beautiful women and millions of dollars and 20 million followers and whatever you have, it's temporary. So do you think you're going to avoid the inevitable? It's coming no matter what. But knowledge is power. Understanding why you're on this earth, connecting to your Creator, having a life of purpose, and taking the gift you were given and using it for something more than yourself. Start with your community, your family, the people around you. Be the one. Step up and rise up and be the example and be a leader. Because every leader had fear in his heart. Don't think that bravery makes someone without fear. Bravery is having the fear and acting anyway. We don't know how much time we have left. The writing's on the wall, I promise you. It's just a matter of when. It's not if. And you don't even have to be spiritual to know it. Even the top experts, financial people, everyone is posting, okay? It's coming. So you can sit here and be in denial and be scared and be terrified, or you can act. You can wake up and you can wake up others, and maybe you got a shot at what comes next. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is it's not going to be good. So let's start with the biggest ticking time bomb, the national debt. Let's check out what this person has to say.
First time in history, the United States debt will reach $40 trillion. In case you're wondering, that is what $40 trillion looks like. And
in case you forgot, the majority of that $40 trillion was spent on destruction, and nothing for construction or reconstruction or infrastructure, anything that could have $40 trillion. We could have probably fixed all of the world's problems. Us, the most prosperous nation at one time, instead of being in debt, if we never would have had all these useless wars that did no benefit to our country, our soldiers, our nation, our future, our children, our freedom, none of them. That $40 trillion, which started ticking up in the 90s, because we had a surplus when Bill Clinton left office, if I'm not mistaken, has been accrued ever since this disastrous campaigns in the Middle East. Your freedoms have been eroded, and nothing was spent to make the life of an American better. So the people in those countries were destroyed. We were destroyed slowly. We got to eat our $2.50 Big Macs for a while. Now it's just as expensive as what 10 years ago. I could go and have a decent meal, not a 5-star, but a decent meal with real good food for the same price now that you pay to get a number 1 or a number 2 at McDonald's. Okay? We're feeling it, man. So, with that said, this national debt is beyond the point of return, in my opinion. I don't think there's any way out. Okay, let's let her keep finishing this and I'll comment.
that is a problem for you and me, but really, it's a problem for all you young people watching this video and your children. You are the ones who are going to be living with and paying for the consequences. So before I tell you what this means and why it should matter to you, you need to know, yes, this is a deep dive. So grab a snack, buckle up. If you don't have time to watch this video right now, favorite it, come back to it when you have a couple of minutes. And also, yes, in this video, I'm going to get into the facts and the actual numbers to explain how each president has contributed to this problem. But before I do that, you need to understand the terminology. The deficit, not the debt, the deficit is what happens when the U.S. government spends more money in a year than it brings in revenue. And when that happens, the U.S. government has to borrow money to pay for that spending. The national debt is the combination of all those past deficits minus any surplus. So the problem is, as I mentioned, we're about to hit $40 trillion of debt. How did that happen? Of course, there's an overspending problem by the government, but it's also happening because we're now paying more than $1 trillion in just interest every year on this debt. The other issue is we're accumulating debt faster than ever before. I just did this video in March of this year when we hit $39 trillion of debt. And now here we are just about 5 months later, and we're on the verge of hitting 40 trillion. You see the problem? And here's the thing. You don't think this is going to get any better. You actually think this is only going to get dramatically worse. How do I know that?
Every 7 years, my understanding as someone that finished school a long time ago, my brain's fried. I haven't really been in the financial brain in a while. Every 7 years with interest, it doubles. So we owe a lot of this money to the Fed, which is funny, right? The Fed. And we're going to get into how Japan is having a crisis right now, and they're starting to unload their treasuries, right? This is like the perfect storm. And I've said this on this channel. I said it when I collaborated with Sonny Faz, my brother. I've told you that we're in serious trouble. It's not going down. I've been saying this for over 8 years on this pod, on my personal pod. Okay? Nothing was done to correct the budget or the deficit or anything, right? It just keeps going higher and higher and higher. It's like if we have a credit card as a country, and every time we hit the limit, because most credit card companies, they cut you off. If you don't pay the bill, the last thing a credit card company is going to do is give you more money that you can borrow. So if you had a credit card with a $20,000 limit, you hit $20,000, you don't make a payment, now the interest kicks in. That happens for 6 months. They shut your card down, and then if you're lucky, they'll let you settle for half of it or whatever. It's because they sucked your blood on 30%. But imagine the national credit card was at zero during Bill Clinton's years. Zero. And we actually had plus money. From that point on, we are now negative 40 trillion. And every time we hit the debt ceiling, we're able to somehow borrow more of this imaginary money, and they keep lifting the ceiling. Okay? But at the same time, that's why your groceries are going up. That's why everything costs more, because the more money you print creates inflation. That's why that bag of chips has less chips in it, the same size bag. It's called shrinkflation. That's why you're noticing less and less money in your pocket. That's why a lot of things are 4 to 5 to 6 times what they were, not even since 2019, not even 10 years later. But we keep borrowing. And for what? For Iran? For Israel? For who? Who's benefiting? It's not the American people. So was it worth it? All of us not paying attention while we had sick people running affairs and not caring about it. Do you understand how much wealth $40 trillion is? We could have probably solved the entire world's problems. We could have cured world hunger. Instead of bombing countries, we could have created opportunities. We could have been the example of what a real utopia could have been. But instead, we have people dividing us. Agitators like Jake Lang, Valentina Gomez, Laura Loomer, Randy Fine, politicians that are lobbied, creating chaos in America and around the world. And now the shit's about to hit the fucking fan. And by the time most of my brothers and sisters in America realize what happened to us, and it wasn't the Muslim hordes at the door and Sharia law that destroyed America, it was us watching football more than watching C-SPAN and keeping these politicians in check, and we let them run this entire beautiful country into the ground, into the abyss.
Because a lot of you are putting money on it. I partnered with Fauci so I can officially use their data, and I can better understand how millions of you really feel about the things happening in this country. Because if you're willing to put money on it, you're probably pretty confident about your opinion. When it comes to what people believe will be the peak U.S. national debt under the Trump administration, the market puts a 98% chance on the debt hitting $42.5 trillion. It puts a nearly 60% chance that the debt is going to hit $47.5 trillion. And then right here, it puts a 33% chance that the U.S. debt is going to hit $50 trillion under the Trump administration. Okay, so what does that mean for you? In the long term, those huge debts mean higher borrowing costs for things like mortgages and car loans, lower growth in your wages and income, and more of the federal budget going towards paying all that interest instead of paying for other priorities like public services and programs for all of us. Importantly, I want you to know this is not happening tomorrow, but it will eventually happen if there is not a dramatic overhaul in the way the U.S. government does things. So if you take nothing else away from this video, you need to understand two critical things. One, both Republicans and Democrats are contributing to this problem.
So if they're both contributing to the problem and the country's on a collision course for disaster and we're all going to probably starve to death because there's going to be nothing to eat, gas, everything's going to shut down. If things keep going the way it does, no more imports, shouldn't we stop fighting each other over nonsense? Black and white, gay and straight, Muslim, Christian, Jew. You know, shouldn't we, like, we're all going to suffer if this happens, right? So I don't know who's watching, where you're from, your background. We're all going to suffer. Right now, we need to put our differences aside. There's a bigger problem right now, and it's these We really got to put the differences aside right now. I know I hate it. I know, it doesn't mean I agree with your lifestyle, but you know what? We got bigger fish to fry. We got bigger problems on the horizon than debating and fighting and arguing and being distracted by people like Jake Lang in Dearborn, Michigan. We got bigger problems right now. The clock's ticking. 20 seconds to midnight. You know what I mean? So we can keep this cycle of debating whether girls and boys can chop their wee-wees off and hate one another and all this other nonsense that's not going to fix any of these problems that are going to affect all of us. I promise you, worrying about guys chopping off their wee-wee is going to be the last of your problems when shit hits the fan and you have no food on your table and no water to drink. I promise you. You're going to look back and be, I spent so much energy on that while this was all going on. While they're building their doomsday bunkers and we're all out here wasting our time on artificially created chaos and division. 100%. That's the plan. Distract until they finish building their system. They're almost done. We're out of time, bro. So it doesn't mean I agree with your lifestyle. But I agree, if we both starve, then who cares? If our children suffer and there's no future, whether it's here in America or on the other side of the ocean, why does it matter? We don't have time anymore to fight one another. That's what they want. It's been working. Most people take the bait. Most people go, ah. We're running out of time. We are running out of time. We may have already gone past the point of any salvaging of what we've had as a nation, and the rest of the world will come down with us. When this country collapses, it will take the rest of the world's economic systems with it. All the paper money, all the countries that were pegged to our currency. We will be in a world where, first of all, America didn't need anybody. And they slowly took away the power of this country and sent the industry overseas and food production and creating food with no seeds, so you can't even regrow an apple. They took things that God gave us for free and they made it and shipped it and made you pay for it. They even charge you to go to the beach depending on what part of the country you live in. Literally, the resources that God created for all of humanity have been put under the control of psychopaths, from food to beef to livestock to vegetables to drinking water in some states. If you collect the drinking water that God blessed you with, they come and arrest you. They took the things that God made for all of humanity for free so they could control all of us, to literally make us serfs in a feudalistic system controlled by AI to even get clean drinking water. And most of us have been asleep. Most of us were worried about what the Lakers did in their game, what the New York Jets did in their game, who Kim Kardashian's married to now after 50 fucking husbands. That's what the majority have been worried about. The same people that will come crashing your doors, and if you've prepared for this, if you've been awake spiritually, if you've been awake mentally, if you've seen that logic has gone out the door and that we are on a collision course of catastrophe, if you've been awake, you should be rewarded for that. But the problem is when people get hungry, people need water, and they have no job, no hope, no future, they become more vicious than animals, because human beings have the capability of being angelic in some ways and animalistic. And when the human being listens only to their desires, they are lower than animals. They are lower than the beast. Because what do animals do? They eat, drink, procreate, right? That's all they do. There are most human beings today, especially in the West, all they're worried about is what they're going to eat today, what they're going to drink, what type of alcoholic beverage they're going to have, what drug they're going to do, what game they're going to watch, what type of entertainment they're going to have, what Netflix show they're going to watch, and if they can screw something, they're going to screw it. That's all they're concerned about. They are lower than animals. Lower than animals. No spiritual intelligence whatsoever. So that's where we're at. What do you think is going to happen even if you prepare? And you should prepare. You should tie your camel, as the prophet said, peace be upon him. You should build your ark like Noah. I would highly recommend that. I would highly recommend that. Even if we didn't have a disaster, even if we didn't have World War III, just because of the way the dollar's going and inflation's going, it would be in your interest to have over 1 year of food and canned food. Because let me tell you something. I grew up in this country. We were taught about the Great Depression that happened. I read what was it called? The Wrath of Leaves, the grape. What the hell was that book I read as a child? It's about the Dust Bowl, the Grapes of Wrath. I believe it's called The Grapes of Wrath. And that was based on a true story of families that had to leave the cities and move towards the West looking for some type of way to sustain themselves when Central Park became Hooversville and everyone was sleeping outside because they lost everything. And we never fully recovered from 2009. They just pumped it full of air. This is the largest bubble in the history of humanity. That's already a fact. This is the greatest debt ever accrued on Earth, in the history of Earth, this national debt. And when this bubble pops, because it's going to pop, may God have mercy on you, me, our family, and all of humanity. But in some ways, we deserve it. God told us interest was forbidden. And many of us got to live nice lifestyles, even if we didn't partake in profiting off of interest. We were in a system based on interest. We lived good lives. We financed things we shouldn't have actually bought. We got things. We lived beyond our means. And they sucked our blood dry, and credit card rates are 30%. And the usurers, the banks, they sucked our blood out, not only as individuals, but as a nation. So indirectly, we deserve what's coming. We violated God's law. Jesus, peace be upon him, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, forbade interest. Even the Torah did. And it wasn't just you couldn't lend to non-believers. You're not supposed to lend to anybody. Doesn't matter what their religion is. In Islam, for example, you're not supposed to lend money to anybody. It doesn't matter if they're a Muslim, not a Muslim. You're not supposed to lend anybody money with interest. It's forbidden by God. But we're all going to learn this lesson real soon. We kept playing with God and taunting God and violating his rules and violating his laws, and disgusting we've become. And we're going to pay the price, bro. The whole world. We allowed ourselves to be integrated into that system. I mean, a lot of us, let's be fair, we were born into it. The world existed like this before I came into it. I feel bad for the young generation. At least I got to squeeze out 44 years of eating like a fat pig and traveling the world and seeing good things. And it was cool for a while. My heart aches for my children, bro. My heart aches for any of you under the age of 30. I think about it all the time. That they won't see the world that I got to see. They won't get to experience what I got to experience. They might have to worry about where they're going to get their next drop of water. So we will be punished. We will be punished. It's already happening. And God knows best. Let's continue. Sorry for that tangent.
And two, this debt and these deficits are not happening only because we're spending too much. I'm going to get to the other reason it's happening in a second, but I know you really want to see how much each president has contributed to the debt problem. And I know there's always an excuse about why the spending is necessary, because there was a war, because there was a pandemic. And yes, Congress controls the purse, but in the end, the president signs off on that spending. So no excuses. For purposes of this video, I don't care why the spending happened. I'm just looking at the raw numbers of who has increased the debt the most in modern times. Here is a chart of all of the debt accumulated under each of the presidential administrations going back to the Clinton administration. Now, when you're looking at this graph as it is, you would say, well, obviously President Obama added the most to the national debt with $9.3 trillion. But wait, this bar is $7.8 trillion, but that was only accumulated in 4 years. Remember, this is 8 years from Obama. To be fair, we need to add all of the debt for the entire time a president is in office.
It's funny, when Trump was running, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. He's going to balance the budget. He's the worst one of them all. The worst one of them all. Talking all that shit. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you're going to be in jail, Epstein this, and and that. What a joke, bro. It seems more and more to me he was nothing more than controlled opposition, to give people hope so they wouldn't resist. So people, there's still people still under his spell. They still believe he's Jesus. They think he's going to save and turn this thing around. He's printed more money than all of them. He started, but it's just, let's just play the video.
So when you combine Trump's first 4 years with this last year and a half, you can see President Trump, since he's been in office, has accumulated the most debt of all the presidents with $11.5 trillion. Now, I want to note that President Biden in just 4 years accumulated a lot of debt, $8.5 trillion. So besides too much spending, I mentioned there's another reason why this debt is accumulating. Politicians always like to talk about the spending problem because it's a good campaign issue. And yes, it's true, spending is a problem. But what politicians conveniently leave out is we also have a revenue problem. Congress keeps spending at unsustainable levels on what they think are priorities at the time, but they also don't want to do what's necessary and raise the revenue to pay for that spending. One of the big ways to raise revenue is to raise taxes. But
how about we just stop fighting all these wars that don't benefit our country at all? How about we just stop that? How about that? How about we mind our own fucking business? How about we stop bombing all over the world? How about that? How about we stop bombing all over the world? We end all these wars. We bring all of our military back. We mind our own business for the next 20 years, and we fix the problem pretty quickly. How about that? Let's do that. Can we try that? No, we can't. We got to make sure we take care of our greatest ally.
They don't want to do that because that's politically unpopular. And it's really politically unpopular to raise taxes on their big donors and big corporations and the very rich. So instead, Congress keeps spending on stuff and putting it on the old theoretical government credit card. The other option you often hear from politicians to reduce the debt, this is something President Trump likes to talk about, is the option of growing our way out of the debt. The theory is we can raise revenue by increasing the GDP, the gross domestic product, by making the economic conditions favorable to big business, like cutting their taxes and slashing regulations. Those big businesses will earn more money, which may raise wages, which then would result in more spending, which would generate more tax revenue, which then grows the economy faster than the debt. Therefore, the debt becomes smaller relative to the size of the economy. Except, according to lots of experts, that's not really working anymore because at this point, the financial gap of this debt is just too big to close by only growing our way out of it. So here's where we are. Congress hasn't cut spending enough to close the gap because cutting programs is unpopular. They also haven't raised enough additional revenue to close the gap because adding taxes is also unpopular. And economic growth alone isn't going to close the gap either. So the question is, how much longer can we stay on this path and have nearly $40 trillion in debt and counting hanging over our heads? Well, that's the question experts have been debating for years. There's lots of opinions about how to fix this, and the reality is, despite all the talk from Republicans and even Democrats about getting the debt under control, Washington has not enacted any change large enough to put even a dent in this debt problem. But the fact is, the bigger the debt gets, the harder it will be for the U.S. government to respond to the next war, to the next recession, or the next pandemic. And the greater the consequences will be for all of us. So if you want to see any of the actual data I use to report this story for you, I'm going to email it all out to you in my next Backstage.
So basically, we're on a one stop away from all hell breaking loose. Now, here's a good friend of mine. He's been on my show. We're scheduled to do another pod. I'm going to start bringing him on more often. This is Eric Zuleger. He's brilliant. He's been all over the world. He's lived in places that most people would be even scared just to visit. Eric also released some information about the incoming crisis. Let's see what he had to say. And make sure you guys follow him. He's a good friend of mine.
I hate being a bad news bear, but call me Yogi because I don't like the look of this. The U.S. financial system is reaching new and dangerous highs of suckiness. See, that yellow line is the GDP of everything the United States produces in a year, and that purple line is U.S. debt. And they are crossing, which means that we're at the point where servicing U.S. debt is more expensive than any other thing that the U.S. government does. This includes our two most expensive activities, which are funding the Department of War and Social Security. Now, politicians will hand-wave this away as not a big deal. However, the market won't. It seems that the largest holders of U.S. treasuries, Japan, the UK, and China, are starting to sell off. In fact, it's down 13% year over year, and that looks more like a strategic sell-off rather than a rebalancing of a portfolio. Here's the thing about taking on debt, specifically debt related to conflict. It only works if you're going to be making more money off of the assets that you've seized. And the best the U.S. can do in Iran is return to a previous state. Link in bio. I hate being a bad news bear.
So Japan is starting to get rid of the dollar. Okay? So we are in Lala World. Let's see if we can find some more information on that. Editor can put this all together. This will be the national debt video. So I'm going to do the, Al, maybe you can guide him on this. There is a big problem heading our way. The national debt is completely getting out of control. It's only a matter of time before things get really bad for all of us, especially here in America and around the world. Let's get into it. That'll be the hook, Al. All right, we're doing this live, folks. So make sure if you want to respond or you have something to say, make sure you send some super chats so I can see what's popping right now. All right, so.
I hate being a bad news bear, but
there's so much stories going on, man. It's hard to keep up with everything. So if you like videos like this and you want to be a part of the family, make sure you subscribe down below. Make sure you check out my community, the Companions. We're over 1,000 strong around the globe. A lot of times after my live stream, I pop right in. If you want to interact, you want to be a part of La Familia, come and join the community. The Companions is downloadable now, both on Android and the Apple Store. You can download the app, The Companions. It's a spiritual fraternal order. People who think and feel the way I do, who care about God, care about humanity, care about their neighbors. It's a place to be social. You'll never feel alone again. It's a place where we do things and talk about things, and we interact. We have live stages. Eventually, we're going to have conferences. I've met over 40% of my members already. So if you love the work, you love the show, come and join the Companions. One of many, never alone. The Companions. Drop a comment, share the video. We appreciate you. Next story, I think, is a distraction before we get into the Jake Lang stuff. Okay, I don't know how it's going to work with these segments, Al. I want to show the hill, but I don't know if these people, like, you know, hit their stuff. Let me see if I can find something on X. Do we have any super chats, Al? Anybody asking any questions out there? Anything?
So, yeah, there are a couple people. So, Gavin from Kick,
Thanks, Gavin, on Kick. Appreciate you.
Pro,
Thanks for the Jules Duro Pro. Anyone else, dude? Damn, son, the recession hit already. I guess we're finished. Let's see here what happened here. There was some big news with those of you that, okay, I can read this. So, alrighty. Let's do this. Let's see if I can find more. Let's see if I could find this next story here a little bit better. David Morans. Okay, this is a big one, man, especially if you lost family during the lockdowns. You should be paying attention right now. Okay, this is U.S. Attorney of Maryland. All right. So this is big news, man. This is a big drop in the bucket. Big drop in the bucket. Okay. So let's do this. New segment. Here we go. New segment. Huge news for those of you that lost family during the pandemic, the lockdowns that started in 2020, the event that changed the whole world forever, the fabric of society, the way we interact, people's social skills today, the horrible nightmare that we all lived. And I think that was just an appetizer of what was going to come down the pipeline. That was the moment where either you woke up quickly or you became, in my opinion, a victim. And many of you have become victims. And many of you have lost family, and you still don't have justice for them. But there was no coincidence to all of this. Breaking as of yesterday, former Fauci advisor David Morans has pled guilty to conspiracy to defraud the U.S. over a scheme to conceal federal COVID records. Morans admits using personal emails to evade public record laws. Now the question is, what else does he know? And will he squeal like a fat pig like Randy Fine?
From the committee, and we're handling that case like as every American should expect, which is we're looking at it, and we're going to do everything we can. If it needs an investigation and it should be investigated, we will absolutely do that. We can't obviously comment. I know you're not asking me to on ongoing investigations, but yes, we did get the referral from the Senate.
Well, I've got
from the committee and.
Okay, so this is big, man. This is huge. Let's go to the Hill because they do a great job with their coverage. Switch me back, Al.
Justice Department alleges that he concealed or destroyed records of discussions related to COVID-19 research grants, including an effort to revive a controversial coronavirus grant. The indictment follows a probe by House Republicans into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic that scrutinized Moran's email communications and accused him of intentionally concealing records. In congressional testimony, Morans denied attempting to evade federal transparency laws by using his personal email.
Morans was indicted by a grand jury in April, and he faces a maximum sentence of 5 years behind bars. Well, so what he did was make it more difficult to use the public records request system, FOIA, to obtain emails and documents related to COVID origins. What did you have?
What else do you want to know? Trying to evade, trying to hide the origins. When a lot of us believe it came from a lab that was paid for, run by Fauci and his crew. The efforts of hiding the information while your families were pumped up onto ventilators with very little chance of surviving. Public debate was annihilated. People like me were attacked, shadow banned, for simply trying to warn you of what was coming and what was happening. Many of you obeyed your masters, your overlords. Right away, you took what they wanted you to take. You jabbed yourselves, your children. Some of you are watching this right now are suffering from health complications that came from that. We tried to warn you. I'm not going to kick you while you're down, but a lot of you were leaving us for dead, detached from society. Not allowed to walk into a store or a restaurant unless we showed our cards, like we were living in the Nazi Germany. Like we were living in the Soviet Union under Lenin. And most of you complied. And most of you turned on your neighbor. And most of you looked at people like me and with disgust because you're cowards. Because you can't critical think. Because you can't think 3 steps ahead. And because you weren't paying attention, you took whatever they told you. The news says it, okay, the news is God. Because you were cut off spiritually, so you didn't have a way to see the darkness. Because your heart's been corrupted. You're too busy pounding down the cheeseburgers and the pizza. I mean, I do it too. But you weren't paying attention. I hope you're paying attention now. I hope you realize what's happened here. I hope you realize that your dead family and friends is no coincidence. It wasn't something that just came out of thin air. I hope you can see that there was a cover-up. I hope you can see that there was a plan. I hope you have woken up And you pay attention now. Because whatever's coming next is going to be worse than anything we've ever seen. It could be all of the above. A collapse, a pandemic, food shortage, power grid, all of it together. With the wrath of God as a cherry on the sundae. I hope you're paying attention. And I hope if you lost family, you demand justice. I hope it's not just Fauci. I want the people behind him, the companies that finance the labs and all the above. They all have blood, millions of lives lost. And we weren't allowed to discuss what's the best treatment option. And maybe ivermectin works and maybe that works. We weren't allowed to talk about it. They were censoring everybody. So what else do you want to know? Dux Rayu Pro. Every day is a kumite for our brothers and sisters. Am I saying that right? Yeah. Kumite? Kumite? Is that Kumite? Yeah, it's Kumite. You can't read English anyway, dude. It is kumite. He said every day is a kumite for our brothers and sisters. It is. You're fighting for your life, bro. Shadoshi Bek, you think Lebanon stands a chance? From Dearborn to Shreveport, Louisiana, man, it's rough out here, brother. Bro, I don't think anybody's going to be able to stand a chance soon. And I think, Lebanon's in big trouble, bro. You know? Okay, USA. That's all I got to say, bro. Hey, we're going to print another war. We're going to start another war. Okay, USA. We're going to start another war, another $50 trillion debt. Okay, USA. We're going to take away your freedoms, rights, flock cameras everywhere. Okay, USA. We're going to make it that you can't even afford a pack of chips. Your whole life's going to be subscription-based. You're going to be surveillanced everywhere you go. You're going to have even pills. I'm going to bring this up in the next segment. Pills that have microchips in it. Okay, USA. You know, I mean, I don't know. The writing's on the wall, bro. Yo, Al, you need to really update these sound effects, bro. I want the dong from Bloodsport. I want that sound. Yeah, I want that. That dong. Just that thing, you know? So, yeah, man, thank you for the support, man. Me and Al can afford one bag of chips now. That's how much a bag of chips costs, bro. $8, bro, for a bag of chips. $8, bro. $8. Okay, not that I should be eating chips. I'm kind of hungry. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of hungry right now. And, well, you know, I think I want pizza today, Al. I don't give a shit. I started in the morning with Atkins diet. We're going to die anyway, dude. Might as well enjoy it. Oh, you're there? You put your ugly face in the camera? Let me see your face again. Disgusting, bro.
Hey! It's haram, bro! Astaghfirullah, bro!
So, yeah, man, we're in trouble. Let's get back to this. This is a big domino falling here. Now, I just don't know, is it a way to distract, make it look like they're doing justice? And because I think what's happening now is a lot of Trump people, okay, are waking up and realizing this guy ain't going to fix America. And he's losing all that support. And he had to throw them a bone before the whole entire system just unravels. I don't know if this is just some type of distraction to make it look like there's actually something happening. There's still a little bit of hope. You know, controlled opposition is what it looks like to me because we're in trouble, man. So is it controlled op just to buy some time? You know, remember, they want to get their AI system up. They want to get their Starlink because this all runs on the internet. They want to get their data centers going. They want to get into their nice, comfortable bunkers that they've been preparing for years. And then when the lights go out, they probably want to watch us on those same cameras they installed, like they're watching an episode of, what was that movie, man? What is it called? The movie where they just, you can do anything, there's no law. What's that damn movie, man? It's like a horror movie, basically. Like you have one day. The Purge. The Purge. Yeah, The Purge. Like an idiot. Okay, so, I wouldn't be surprised when this thing hits the fan and we're all in the streets dying and people, they're just going to sit back on their flock camera systems, their little AI surveillance bots, sit there enjoying all their pre-packaged food and freezers that run on generators, and they're eating nice cheeseburgers watching us all die, bro. The great culling, bro.
To hide, my friend, what were you doing there? Also, it should be noted that, let me pull up this tweet exactly. I got this from Catherine Herridge, an independent reporter. She points out that he's described as there's David Morans and then co-conspirator 1 and co-conspirator 2.
And you guys think I'm bad and I jumble up my words. He has teleprompters, bro. I do this live, dude. I throw up the stories. Sometimes I'm literally pulling up a story while we're doing this. It's live, man. So show some love, dude. I see you in the chats. Jason, Max, Gavin, Vanta Black. I see you, man. This is live, man. Live.
In these documents. So the question is, who are those co-conspirators? Does David Morans, can he be offered some kind of, reduced sentence or no sentence in exchange?
Now, I don't know how this is going to work since Fauci already got a pardon before he was ever accused of a crime, which is already a false flag, right? It's like, Bek, we're going to pardon you for murder, but I'm not even accused of murder. But I get a pardon. I get a get out of jail free card. How is this going to work? But if I lost family in COVID, and I did, that's why I speak about it. I have a cousin that lost his life. Put on a ventilator. He never came back out. He probably could have stayed home and just been okay. His vitals were fine. He went into the hospital thinking he was going to get help. He never came back out. Great guy. Friendly. Happy person, dude. Gone. I know some other guy lost his son. Do you not want justice for them? If it's proven that this came out of the lab and there was a cover-up, do you not want justice for your loved ones? Have you forgotten them already? That's what I don't understand, dude.
Exchange for, because what we really want to know.
What you really want to hear is that the co-conspirator is Dr. Fauci. And like I said, if there is a smoking gun that points to Dr. Fauci in any way, I would love to see it because he knows somebody that did nefarious behavior.
This gun is so hot.
No, because he knows someone that has hid their emails. This doesn't even prove that the government created COVID. This doesn't prove that COVID came from a lab. All this does is prove that this man is hiding emails.
They just didn't want to tell you anything about it.
No, this proves that he's hiding emails. It just doesn't prove that the COVID virus came from a laboratory. That's where I'm saying, like, the framing of every article I read about this on New York Post and everything was extremely aggressive, when all this proves specifically is that Morans was not using his email rights to avoid getting criticized in any way by decisions that he was making or communications that he was having, which is not appropriate to do. And yes, he should face jail time or whatever the repercussions are.
See,
but I think we shouldn't have this.
I just want answers.
Yes, no, you might just want answers, but a lot of people just want Fauci in jail. And so that's the distinct difference. I think there are a lot of people that actually do want answers. And that's what could have happened a few weeks ago when we saw the testimony or lack of testimony of Dr. Fauci in front of Rand Paul. But instead, senators decided to use that moment to let Fauci know, I would still like to see you in jail, and I'm going to do everything I can to put you in jail, as opposed to share the intel with us so we can learn and not have a disaster of this likeness ever again in this country.
That's not going to be good enough to people that lost their families. We want answers. We know there was gain of function. We know they altered these viruses. We want justice. It's not for the next one. We want what happened to be out in the open. We want transparency. There shouldn't be any secrets between the government and the American people. This whole entire government's been operating secretly for a very long time. That's why it's out of control. We, the people, are not in power. We're not in power, bro. We have the choice between Coke or Pepsi. And I'm going to ask my fellow Americans, how much is enough? Would you get on an airplane with a pilot you knew was going to crash you into a mountain? No, we're on an airplane headed for a mountain. What do you want to do about it? We're on a collision course to disaster. What are we going to do about it? We're just going to sit, okay, I'm going to vote again. We're going to vote Coke or Pepsi. We're diabetic. One more ice cream bar or Coca-Cola or anything, we're dead. We're going to vote our way out of this. It's too late. There's not enough time. And voting is useless without term limits and making lobbying illegal. You'd have to reform the entire fucking system. There's no way out. Literally no way out. No way out. That's what we're up against.
History. And if we do have a disaster, then we will know how to respond to it in a much better way, in the ways that we respond as far as wearing masks and other things, but also in the ways of saving lives and in the ways of not doing research that might hurt us. But because it was framed immediately as Dr. Fauci is a criminal, and I'd like to see him behind bars, and Rand Paul didn't say that, but that's pretty much what he was inferring. Obviously, Dr. Fauci guided by any lawyer, would be told to plead the fifth, because any single sentence he said on any topic that didn't match one for one what he said at a testimony would make him
So Fauci's
have
senior
lied.
advisor took steps to make it more difficult to find the emails where they had this discussion about COVID origins, said, email my Gmail, do it so that this will not be subjected to the public records process. What did he have to hide?
Are you?
How is
I have a
this not
question. Are you responsible for each thing that I do as we work at the same company? Because that's what they do. They work at the same.
No,
are
you
you
don't
responsible?
work
But we
for
work very
ANZ.
closely.
We are co-equals
No.
in this
Okay.
project.
Okay. Is our boss responsible for the decisions that I make or you make? No. Right. She's not actually responsible for that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we work together, but we are individuals. And so if this man did something
Warren's
that's
worked for Fauci. Fauci was in a supervisor role. And if your emails were like, if the content of the email was, Robbie and I got to have a private conversation somewhere that you can't be subjected to what that conversation's about, people be like, oh, well, what's that?
perhaps he was
conversation
also hiding the emails from his own boss. Perhaps that's the case, right?
I think
and because we
he's
don't have
hiding-
specific, but he also could have been hiding it from his boss.
Okay,
is what I'm
but
saying.
in
We don't have
public service, you
information.
can't do that.
We need to know exactly. So he's the one who's wrong and he's the one who's in trouble. We need to know exactly what Fauci knew. We need to. I'm not covering for Fauci. I have no direct connection
you have
or
a-
concern for Dr. Fauci. I have a concern that senators want to see the man in jail or want to see him held up in court for the
Why
rest
does
of his
it- why
life
does it matter
because
to
they're
you that he
obsessed
doesn't
about
go
the
to jail?
response.
Like, why are you?
Because I think that Dr. Fauci worked alongside world health leaders and made decisions, and everybody wants somebody to blame because it was a terrible time in our country's history
What if
that we
those
all
decisions
remember.
were wrong
Yeah, but I
or
don't think that
criminal in nature?
I disagree wholeheartedly that there's some extreme cover up, that Dr. Fauci really knew that this originated.
Shut the fuck up. She's so dumb, dude, in my opinion. Stupid, dude. I don't think there was a cover up. I don't think there was a cover. There was a cover up from day one, dude. Okay? You know how you know there was a cover up? We weren't allowed to talk about it. Stupid. Oh, stupid. We weren't allowed to have conversations online. They would zap our videos. We weren't allowed to communicate. We weren't allowed. I got thrown off a Clubhouse. Okay? Because I had a room called Will There Be Future Lockdowns? And people were discussing these things, these very things that we're talking about again right now because of what's happening. So don't tell me there wasn't a cover-up. We couldn't speak about it. We were being censored. People were banned off platforms for talking about this could be happening, that could be happening. Maybe there's a better way to treat people. We weren't allowed to speak, and we say we're free? What are you talking about? Stupid, bro. Idiot. Useful one at that. With a microphone.
Somewhere else and really tried his best to try to cover this up
Richard
because
Nixon
of his
was just
past.
doing his best to lead the country.
Dr. Fauci is
what
not
does
the
that
president.
mean?
He was
Like-
hired by two different administrations to respond on how we should answer.
And that's another thing. All you Trumpsters, bro. Okay? It was on Trump's watch, too. He was the president. All this shit happened under his watch, also. Wasn't just Biden. Under his watch. A global catastrophe happened. Warp speed to inject all of you. Warp! Fast! How did that work out? How's your heart doing? You feeling all right? You have any chest pain lately?
to a
And he
global
did
pandemic.
Appallingly
Right, so he should
bad.
not be behind bars because we don't like what he did alongside the top health
You
experts
keep
that
doing this
also
dance. That's not
or
why
scientific
we're trying to.
experts that made
That's
these
not what we're trying to
decisions.
prosecute him. We're trying to prosecute him for the origins of COVID. And you want to excuse him for that by saying, but he did such a good job running.
No,
like,
I wanna tell
responding
you-
to the pandemic. And so then I respond, well, actually, he didn't do a good job because the advice he gave was very, very bad. And then you go, but then that's not criminal. See how you keep moving that?
No, I want you to point to the evidence that shows. I want you to point to the
Driving me
evidence.
crazy.
You know she hates his guts right now. She's like, this mother. She's like, this piece of shit. Like, there's no way she's happy. I think he's making her look stupid. You know? What do you think, Al? Making you look stupid? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Stupid, right? Yeah, stupid.
That shows that his lab work
Right.
led to COVID.
Well, I'd like to be
and
able
you
to-
have none.
Okay.
I would like anybody to point
Because
to
David
that
Morris tried
evidence.
to hide it.
No, I'd like anybody. You're talking about someone else. I'd like to show me Dr. Fauci hiding it. I'd like to see Dr.
Go
Fauci.
crazy, people.
No, I want you to really understand this, because if there's evidence, then move forward. But he has said specifically when we asked him that there's no way that what he was working on in China historically turned into COVID in the future.
He said they weren't doing gain-of-function research in China at all.
We can take him at his word or not.
And
He lied about taking that same exact virus strain and making it more deadly. And he's been proven to have lied about that. What else you want to know? Stupid. Oh, stupid. Oh, idiot. Dr. Fauci, did you take the coronavirus and gain function? Did you make it even more deadly? No, I didn't. Under oath. Then it came out that he did. And there were labs that did that. What else do you want to know? Someone that's telling the truth doesn't have to hide, bro. Someone that's telling the truth doesn't have to say, and under counsel's advice, I plead the fifth. You got nothing to hide. Millions of people, your family's name, reputation, everything is worth more than hiding behind the Fifth Amendment. Period.
he's been caught.
But if we
lying
don't
about
take
that.
him at his word, there are people that worked in the lab. Let's figure out how to
We
get
don't
those
need to
answers.
take him at his word because his word is a lie. It's already been demonstrated that his claim that there was no U.S.-funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China, in that lab, that is a false claim. It has been proven to be false because it is gain-of-function research. He admits in his diary it's gain-of-function research. I mean, Ashish Jha, the Biden COVID advisor, said the other day, it's clear that what he told Rand Paul was not true and that we were doing gain-of-function research. Sorry, that question is not even being debated anymore. It's put to bed. We did fund gain-of-function research. What he said to Rand Paul was inaccurate.
Right,
If
so
I'm being the most charitable possible to him.
And if
That's already done.
Fine.
We know that.
And he could have been a liar. He could have been anything you want to call him. But is he a criminal? We need evidence to support that.
I don't know if millions and millions of people died because it got out of one of those labs that should never be in China to begin with. Here's how funny politicians are and people. The Chinese people are a problem. They're a great threat to us, the communists. Meanwhile, we allow our labs, under Obama, by the way, go and set up shop in a foreign country to basically work on what sounds like bioweapons? Does that sound patriotic to you? Does that sound like Americans putting America first? Why would we even have labs on Chinese territory? Let's just start there. So there's no denying the labs exist. They were in China. We were playing with viruses and making them more deadly. What else do you want to know? All the first reports we got were coming from China. They were closing down. They were spraying everything. It was all from China, remember? China, that's what we kept hearing. So clearly this thing looks like it started in China. The labs were making the same type of virus. Two coincidences. I mean, it's not that hard. Why were the labs even in China to begin with? Why? And how many people lost their lives because of that? How many people? How many people did you lose? Friends. Bare minimum, maybe, I think everyone knows at least one or two. At least everyone that I know. So it's time, bro. It's time for the truth. All I pray God does. And I don't care if he nukes the world, destroys all of us, volcanoes, tsunamis. I pray that God allows humanity, and he will, eventually he will, right, to see the truth. And then if we don't do anything about it, then we deserve the pestilence, we deserve Armageddon, we deserve everything coming our way. I don't think God will destroy us until enough people have seen the truth and we don't act. I think enough's out there to know the truth already. Not only for what happened here, with Epstein, with everything, bro. So I think the clock is ticking spiritually also. I covered the national debt on the last one. I think spiritually we've run out of time with God because we don't stand on anything. We don't stand on morals. We don't do what we're supposed to do. We see injustice. We see corruption, and we just sit there and take it. Like it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed, bro. Where's the rest of the men in this world? Forget the women. Where's the men? Embarrassing, dude.
Because we believe in our judicial system, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't see any evidence from Rand Paul besides he doesn't like the man. And part of the reason he doesn't like him is because his response because he lied about whether he was performing research, but then also his response to COVID in general. He doesn't like that he had to wear a mask. He doesn't like that people were socially distant. He doesn't like how it affected children. A lot of people are mad about that. These are not reasons to put him in jail. So until you show me the evidence that the man is the reason that COVID started and is lying about the cover-up, is lying about the fact that it originated in a lab specifically to protect himself, then I don't really have anything for people. I don't think he should be in jail. That's why I'm arguing that point.
Highly suggestive evidence of that.
Okay, so should people go in jail because like, show me the proof.
The crime is lying to Congress. He did lie to Congress. That's already established. So now I guess it gets into his motivation or whether
He should be in jail just for lying to Congress. That's a crime itself. But no, he got a pardon. He got a pardon.
he willfully lied. He was given the opportunity, by the way, to revise that testimony and say, you know what, I misspoke. We actually did fund that research, but I don't think that research could have made COVID. And he did not correct the record. He was still maintaining that, but that's not
he
exactly.
He said on a technicality, it's not gain-of-function research, but that's what he said. So if it's technically true, then it's true.
It's, well,
not
technically true.
This is what he said. I'm not a scientist. So I'm just saying, he said that it's not gain-of-function research by definition.
But he said it in his diary that it is gain-of-function
Okay, so should we believe a Dear Diary or should we believe a scientist's word? Should we ask other scientists about this? Is what I'm saying.
Don't you find this very problematic?
Don't you find it weird that when other scientists try to get involved or tell us what to do or how we should treat ourselves or if we should take the treatment that they were forcing on everybody, warp speed, don't you find it weird that a lot of those voices were suppressed? Some of them even died mysteriously. Dr. Rashid being one of them. Don't you think it's weird? I mean, like, if you're seeing smoke everywhere, isn't it smart to say after a while, well, there's got to be a fucking fire? I mean, how stupid can you be? How dumb can you be? I also agree you shouldn't be putting people in jail without having concrete proof. But I think there's enough evidence there to support a full-blown investigation by outside independent agencies, because I don't think anyone that's American that has a brain trusts any of our agencies anymore to do anything that's honorable or serve justice out of everything. So that's where we're at with all this. Let's see where it goes. Let's see if he squeals like a pig against his former boss, Fauci. It's a big drop in the bucket for those of us that are awake and believe that this was one massive disgusting event that was planned on purpose and released to the public to create chaos in the world. That's what I believe, and that's why I'm going to stay. That's my opinion on all of it. That's my opinion on all of it. So it is what it is, dude. If you like videos like this, you want someone that covers all the crazy news, gives you his spin on things, helps you critically think when most of us are critically in need, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, help me. I'm a small guy out there. The powers that be don't like my work, and you're the only way I can get through the barrier. I need you, man. Also, make sure if you want to support my works and have access to me and real conversations just like this, except you can be on the other side of the mic and talk to your boy Bek Lover, check out the Companions app on the iStores. Just been released. Monthly subscription helps fuel the work, helps me expand. Tons of brothers and sisters in there. You have access to me, and I host a lot of spaces in there that I don't host here. So come check it out. Come be a part of the family. It's awesome. We're going to do big things in there. We already have. We need you in the ranks. Come and join the Companions, one of many, never alone. Now's your chance. If you haven't been able to join in the past, now it's on a monthly option. Come and try it for a month, man. The only requirement is you have respect, you believe in God in some shape or form, and you love humanity. That's about it. I'm going to take 2 right now. I need to use the restroom. I'm going to take 2. Al, why don't you sit here and let them look at your face while you eat? I need to use the restroom. And we're going to start. I got more segments. Don't go anywhere. I'm getting into Jake Lang next. Maybe I can pop something on real quick while I'm doing that. Get you guys warmed up, and we'll do a segment about this idiot. Huh? Huh? No, you're not. You're back on the diet, right? So, yeah, man, I'm stressed out, bro. It's getting crazy out there. It's getting nuts out there. It's getting absolutely nuts out there right now. So I'll leave this one on. Candace was vindicated over suspicious Egyptian plane. Let's play this clip. This is about Charlie Kirk and him getting whacked. But I actually think this clip is very important, and we'll cover it, I guess. But I think Candace, she's under the crosshairs. Let's see what she had to say about all this.
There's the plane. There's the plane.
Right
a month later.
He has always wanted to be at the center of some of
There it is, SUBTT. That's the plane that Candace identified. Bombshell. The same Egyptian presidential plane Candace Owens flagged in Provo the day Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Guess where that was just spotted? It was sitting on the tarmac next to Air Force One in Sharm el-Sheikh on October 13th.
Mm-hmm.
On October 13th, 2025, during a Gaza Peace Summit, Fox News Live coverage shows Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi motorcade pulling up as Air Force One lands.
Mm-hmm.
Right there on the tarmac, SUBTT. That's the serial number of the plane. This is the exact tail number Candace exposed. Let's recap the receipts already dropped. SUBTT, the yellow Egyptian Falcon, landed in Provo on September 4th, 2025, 6 days before Charlie was killed. It carried a group of Egyptian military contractors.
Mm-hmm.
Those
AKA Israel hires.
Those contractors deplaned in Provo. The plane then left for Wilmington, Delaware on the morning of September 10th with only 4 people on board. The contractors were gone. Those same contractors got rental cars from Duncan Aviation at the Provo FBO. Candace was mocked for the time zone mistakes. She was told it was just maintenance. Now we have live Fox News footage from the Egyptian presidential summit showing SUBTT plane parked next to Air Force One while El-Sisi greets Trump. This is not a random charter. This is Egyptian presidential fleet. So why was a plane from the Egyptian presidential fleet sitting in Provo, Utah, the week Charlie was assassinated, dropping military contractors who then vanished into rental cars from Duncan Aviation? The official narrative still wants you to believe this is all coinkydink and Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a lone wolf. So let's watch this. So here we go. So there it is. So this is it. Watch this. So turn it up.
This is the Egyptian president, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. I went over to Egypt. I interviewed him early after he took over in June of 2014.
There's the plane. There's the plane. A month later.
He has always wanted to be at the center of some of...
There it is. SUBTT. That's the plane that Candace identified.
The Middle East discussions of how things go forward. So this is a big moment for Egypt as well, to be able to host this Gaza Accord and all of these world leaders as they look for the future. And to Martha's point, I think that's a great point about Russia and China. Him early after he took over in June of 2014.
There it is.
He has always wanted to be at the center of some of the Middle East discussions of how things go forward. So this is a big moment for Egypt as well, to be able to host this.
So I reported that on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination, an Egyptian Air Force plane took off from Provo, Utah airport. I reported that, even more curiously, that Egyptian military plane had previously only ever been to the United States twice in that past year. And both times it was in the weeks leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Okay, here is that plane. The tail number you can see here is SUBTT. And this is a screenshot again from flight radar. Now, of course, when I pointed out that this foreign military plane arrived on September 4th, so 6 days before, into Provo, Utah, and departed 6 days later on September 10th, they ignored the huge substance of this, which is, why is this Egyptian military plane here in the middle of Utah? Instead, they said, oh, she made a time zone mistake, like as if I'm on flight radar every day, accustomed to reading the data here. Yeah, I thought that I was looking at mountain time, like local time on flight radar. As Mark just explained, no, they do it according to universal time. Okay, big deal. Like, actually, big deal. Anyways, I was going through the DCIA tips box, our decentralized intelligence agency tips box, and I found a very interesting email. I'm going to be very careful here to make sure I don't give this person away, but it was someone from a foreign country. They wrote us claiming to have intimate knowledge regarding the flight. And you can take what I'm about to tell you to the bank, okay? In fact, you can even take this as a direct challenge to Kash Patel to dispute what I am going to say. And I feel that I have been presented with absolute solid proof from this individual who is in proximity to one of the individuals that was aboard this flight, okay? I can now report to you that it is a fact that on 9/4, there were, this was not some dropping by in Utah as they were trying to claim, because the plane needed to be serviced
in
That's what
Provo,
they ran with.
Utah.
They ran with. This could have been a routine servicing. I guess there's just no place from Egypt all the way to Utah that an Egyptian military plane can like get a tire changed. This is totally routine. Nothing to see here. Well, I'm telling you that for a fact, that plane was carrying military subcontractors. And for a fact, they were dropped off in Provo, okay? And that they did not make it back to Cairo. I showed you the plane left. They left on September 10th. It then laid over in Wilmington, Delaware, and departed back for Cairo on the 11th. I am telling you that when that plane left, okay, those people were mysteriously missing from that plane, okay? What's going on here? Why are Egyptian military subcontractors, what are Egyptian military subcontractors doing in the middle of Provo, Utah on the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated? You should be concerned. And I'm going to give more cause for concern, okay? Because as you guys will recall, 2 Egyptian planes, got it. For the sake of ease, we've labeled one blue, that's SUBND, which was the one that was transponding on the ground at Duncan Aviation on the day of Charlie's assassination, but it did not go anywhere. And then, of course, our now infamous yellow plane that carried on to Wilmington, Delaware that morning, and has seemingly panicked the world, right? I'm reminding you that that flight from Provo to Delaware on the yellow plane had only 4 people on board. Okay, so that plane pretty much emptied out and then had only 4 people, one of which was a foreign dignitary. Now, one of those individuals I can confirm was using the name. And when I say using the name, we are dealing with governments, we are dealing with power, and these people just print passports, okay? These are obviously dead ends. But the name that one of those individuals was using is Walid Mahmoud, okay? Walid Mahmoud. So we now know that of the 4 people that flew to Delaware, someone flew using the name Walid Mahmoud, okay? Here is where it's going to get interesting. And I don't know if we can show that name, Chris, if we have that, but we can spell it out for that. I don't know if we have a graphic for that. But here's where it gets interesting, okay? Walid Mahmoud had been in Provo before, okay? Specifically, Walid Mahmoud came to Provo on May 27th of this year. Walid Mahmoud came in, and we can also confirm that if you look up the plane that he was on, there is no transponder data which reflects that trip. He was not on the yellow plane. This is what's very interesting. He was aboard another Egyptian military plane, and the tail number for that plane is SUBTU. We're going to make that the purple plane, okay? Purple plane was not there on the day of Charlie's assassination, but we now have a person that was on that purple plane at the end of May, and then he is going to be on that plane again on the day of Charlie's assassination, both times in Provo. And we can drop that now into our timeline, okay? May 27th, SUBTU flies into Provo with Walid Mahmoud aboard. Maybe it's a pilot, I don't know. Then we've got, it departs on June 2nd, and it is not transponding. Okay?
Not
so
transponding.
Not find a record of this on flight radar. Now, why is this compelling? Why is this especially compelling? Because the purple plane, SUBTU, as has been recently discovered by the work of other people, was once upon a time flown with the president of Egypt aboard. And by once upon a time, I mean back in 2023. This tweet came from Project Constitution. I'm going to read it in its entirety, okay? Confirmed. Candace Owens just got vindicated again. The Egyptian government website confirms that Egyptian President El-Sisi flew on SUBTU. Remember when Candace Owens dropped that bombshell exposing that Egyptian presidential plane as the mystery bird tied to those shadowy flights? And just, you know, he's confusing BTT. He's talking about BTU. We were always talking about BTT. Well, official receipts just landed straight from the Egyptian presidency website that on April 3rd, 2023, President El-Sisi touched down in Riyadh aboard that same exact aircraft, tail number SUBTU, for a high-level sit-down with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, okay? So BTU. And again, he's mixing it up with BTT, but we can now connect these 2 planes. Now, before you jump to conclusions and go, well, does this solve this? Does this mean that this was the Egyptian president on board? No, we can actually officially rule out that it was President El-Sisi that was aboard the jet on September 10th because he was photographed at a meeting with the Prime Minister of Tunisia, Sarah Zafrani, and it was in Egypt. We can also rule him out as having been the individual that was in Provo back in May because he was again photographed multiple times throughout that week in Egypt, okay? What we can, however, deduce is that Walid Mahmoud is therefore not the president of Egypt, but he is almost certainly well acquainted with the president of Egypt because planes that fly presidents around, military planes, you're not going to just, you know, let just some random healthy Egyptian aboard your jet, right? This person is going to be well acquainted with the president of Egypt, okay? So who is Walid Mahmoud? Who is the person using the name Walid Mahmoud? That is the question that we are left with. Now, again, maybe Walid is the pilot. That could make sense. But what was he or she doing in Provo at the end of May and into early June? These are questions and honestly concerns that shouldn't be expressed by me. It should be expressed by every single person at Turning Point USA who is interested in getting to the bottom of who assassinated Charlie Kirk. It should be expressed by our government. It should be expressed by the Pentagon and their giggly press secretary and press members. We should be asking this question. Instead, we're just being gaslit.
They have no interest. TPUSA has no interest. The Trump administration has no interest. The FBI has no interest. They have no interest in any of this stuff. Isn't that? I find that interesting. It's just interesting.
It is just interesting.
It's just interesting. Ryan Mata says, I wonder if this is why they lost their mind when Candace started talking about the Egyptian flights. What are the odds Candace would be talking about a plane with the exact same tail number as a flight that was just photographed on the tarmac next to Air Force One? And what's interesting is that no one is interested in this except they freak out. So you know you're over the target when they freak out over it. Because if it was nothing, they wouldn't even mention it. They would just let her talk about it. Who cares? It's got nothing to do with anything. But the fact that they freaked out so hard, till this day, they still freak out about it, shows you that there's a connection there and that there was military contractors that got off that plane and didn't get back on, got in rental cars. Okay. And if you want to hear my jokes about this, I'll see you September 13th. That's a Sunday in New York City at the Village Underground. And I'll see you September 18th and 19th in Rosemont, Illinois at the Zanies September 20th, downtown Chicago. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Hey, come see me do a live celebrity panel August 30th in Burbank, California. Then stand up in New York City at Village Underground September 13th. And then in Chicago, September 18, 19, and 20 in Rosemont and Chicago. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
You show up on that day, everyone goes up one by one. You have a bunch of liberals and conservatives, equal amount, and then they vote who goes to the next round. And everyone in the country gets to see them speak and then call in.
That'd be cool.
That would be a real democracy in the real world, in real time, but that'll never happen.
We don't have democracy.
No, we don't.
You think we ever did?
No.
Damn.
I think we have corporate feudalism. I think we had, listen, it depends who you are. If you ask an African American, when did they ever get treated equally? Let's be real. Right? They came here on boats, enslaved. A lot of them were Muslim originally, by the way.
Oh, really?
That's the funny, like when you have people say Muslims don't belong here. Well, you brought them on boats. They picked your cotton for free for a long time, bro. They've been here since day one. The first Muslim country to recognize America was Morocco, provided them with a much-needed base as a newborn nation.
Wow.
This perception of Islam as the enemy of the U.S. and its way of life, and that America's a Christian nation, well, I don't see much Christianity being practiced out there. I, as a Muslim, have no problem living in a Christian nation. I want America to be a Christian nation. I want America to follow the Bible and the Ten Commandments and all the rules and regulations of their faith, because Islam is not much different than that. So when I start to see it, I don't see it. But I, just for the record, have no problem living in a Christian majority nation that follows the actual teachings of the Bible. I don't see it anywhere, Sean Kelly. I don't see it anywhere. And on the contrary, I see people attacking Muslims for the very ideals that they should have within their own faith. To be modest, to have morals, to be conservative when it comes to family values, to marrying man between women and having children, to protect the life, except if there's, cases of incest and all that stuff. These are not different than Christian ideals, yet the media will have you believe differently. And the oxymoron of the term, the contradiction of the term Judeo-Christian. They try to push this out like Judeo-Christian is something that has really existed. No, it hasn't. The Judeo-Christianity has been the Christians persecuting the Jews throughout history, kicking them out of their countries, massacring them, the Inquisition, the Holocaust, all done by Christian nations. It doesn't mean that they were following Christianity, so I want to clarify that. However, they want to make it seem like it's Muslims who hate Christians and Jews, and especially right now it seems to be coming more from the Jewish media than anybody else. And I ask your audience to do one simple Google search. Go and type in Omar al-Khattab, Omar al-Khatab. Read about his life. When he took over Jerusalem, there were no Jews there. They were pushed out by the Romans and the Byzantines for 500 years. They weren't allowed to step foot into Jerusalem. Okay. And only 5 years after the Prophet Muhammad's life, peace and blessings be upon him, the second king of the Muslims said, how come there are no Jews in Jerusalem? Bring me 80 families now to resettle them. So if it's in Islam's doctrine to hate Jews, why would they resettle them from its inception? Can anyone explain that to me?
That's nuts.
Why did they leave Andalusia, which was heaven on earth for those that lived there? The only time in that period of European history where Christians, Muslims, and Jews lived in peace and had a golden age and helped pull Europe out of the darkness. Study the history of ancient Andalusia. These are things they didn't teach us in America. They always said the Moors conquered Spain. The Moors conquered Spain. No, it was the Goth kingdom. Half the kingdom didn't recognize the sovereignty of the other half. They were having a civil war, and the other half sided and said, can you guys come over and help us take over and run the place for us? And that's exactly what happened. And if Islam was spread by the sword, then why are the Spanish still Catholic today? And if we actually are fair to history, wherever the quote-unquote Christian nations went, most of those people never kept their religion, their language, even their names. That sounds like spreading it by the sword. Let's look at our own country. We're the Native Americans. What about South America? What about Mexico? What about all these other Latin-based nations where the Tainos were massacred by the conquistadores, by the colonizers of Europe? But they want to tell you that Islam was spread by the sword. This is a fallacy. This is a lie of modern history. So they can create dehumanization of the soon-to-be the world's largest faith so they can continue to justify their wars. And again, I don't group all Christians in here.
Yeah.
And I don't blame modern Christianity or modern Christians for what happened, no more than I would blame a terrorist for their actions that is. Let's do it. We're back. Breathe, man. I'm exhausted right now, man. I was in Florida, back, this, that. It's been crazy. Thanks for hanging on while I took a quick little break. had to pray. Gotta do what we're supposed to do. So, here we go. Third segment. Let's get this scumbag. This piece of shit. This piece of crap.
People that are trying.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. By now, you've probably seen videos all over the internet about the Muslim invasion of America in Dearborn, Michigan, and Texas. And the Muslims are here to take over the world and take over America when they're less than 1% of the population. I mean, you've heard of Jake Lang. He's a man that definitely has Jewish origins. His family is Jewish. He claims to be a Christian, although I don't think he is. I think he's an agitator of chaos. He was arrested during the January 6th riots, which could have led to a civil war, supposedly. And I think that's what Jake wants. I think Jake wants to create a civil war. The question is, why does he? Jake has been seen on camera multiple times using the most derogatory terms you could use towards African Americans. They almost beat the living crap out of him in Los Angeles. And then meanwhile, you have Christian pastors that are black standing next to Jake Lang. He uses the N-word. What kind of a clown world do we live in? This was supposed to be big screen, bro. I messed up here. Or you? Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's a joke. I made a film with my brother Sonny Faz. It's called The Muslim Invasion of America. It's available for free on YouTube. We went to Dearborn, Michigan. We went to Plano, Texas. We showed you the epic mosque. We showed you the community. We met with the mayors. And most people that have visited have also agreed this is all hogwash. It's all propaganda. It's all just to create hatred and division in America. And in my opinion, to distract Americans from... to distract Americans from the real problems, the national debt crisis, the war in Iran, inflation, and the collapse of civilization as we know it. That's what I think Jake's purpose is, to distract Americans while chaos is erupting all over the world. Let's go through some of the clips. Let's see what Jake Lang was up to this week in Dearborn, Michigan.
There's some angry people. There's some people that are trying to stay even keel and promote the real reason why we're here. We don't want our country taken away. And if it comes down...
I got a news flash for you, Granny. You're too busy watching Fox News and all the other. Your country's already been infiltrated, but not by Muslims. It's another group. Promise you, it's another group of people. They also have a religion, and they think that they're better. And there's some extremists in that group. Not all of them. And it's already been infiltrated, you know. They have lobbies. They're very powerful. They own a lot of shit. You've already been infiltrated. I love when she goes, I don't want to be infiltrated. I got a news flash for you, you fucking idiot. I have a news flash for you. Your country has already been infiltrated, but it ain't by the Muslims.
Here, we don't want our country taken away. And if it comes down to it, you know, there will be a battle.
It's been brewing for a while. I lived here for 25 years. I've never seen it this bad.
Our forefathers would have stood for Christ just like we did.
Your forefathers hung him up on a cross. You're Jewish. Your forefathers hung him up like this on a cross. That's what your forefathers did. I love when he's speak. Like, imagine he's the one that's supposedly supposed to be representing Christians in America. Do you even know who you're following? Do you even know his ethnic background? Do you even know where he's from? That's what your founding forefathers would have done to Christ. That's what they did to Christ. They tried to, at least. Muslims believe that never happened, but you get my point.
In fact, they signed a pledge, all 56 of them, to say this is a Christian land for their posterity.
Jake Lang loves to proclaim that he is a crusader against Muslims. Jake Lang loves to wear Temu armor without any plates in them to pretend that he's a soldier when he never served in the United States military.
Dearborn is home to more than 30 churches and roughly a dozen mosques.
I met with this mayor, And from what I can tell, very down to earth, really cool dude. He represents everyone that lives in that community. They celebrate all the holidays. You know, there's no special treatment within the law there. So that's what I witnessed personally. I was in Dearborn for a week. I stayed there for a while. I was sick as a dog in the hotel. You guys can go, again, watch the film, The Muslim Invasion of America. You'll see it for yourself. It's free. It's on YouTube. Just type in The Muslim Invasion of America, and you're going to see who Jake Lang really is.
And each and every single week, tens of thousands of people walk through those doors to participate with their congregations. They may pray differently, but they pray for many of the same things.
So this is what's going on in our country. We have people dividing Americans. That's part of the plan. That's part of the agenda to distract us from everything that's happening right under our feet. Surveillance, violation of rights, national debt, inflation. They want you to focus on the Muslim boogeyman. That's what they want you to focus on. They want you to focus on the Muslim boogeyman with this fucking clown.
And be saved from the satanic calling all Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan. Come and be baptized today and be saved from the satanic pedophile religion of Muhammad. Jesus Christ wants to bring you home and give you the grace that you could not earn. Be baptized today, my brothers, at the Henry Ford Library, 6 p.m. We will be giving you guys a great pig roast and a baptism ceremony, worshiping the King of Dearborn himself, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. God bless America. Freedom isn't free. Stand up, Crusaders. Calling all...
I don't get offended at all as a Muslim, at all, by Jake Lang. Like, I don't think he represents Christianity, nor do I even consider him Christian. So I would advise Muslims also, don't take his bait. Don't take out his actions and make it seem like that's what Christians think. Any Christian that follows him is, in my opinion, a complete fool. They have no idea who he really is. And he definitely doesn't represent the teachings of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. So I would highly recommend not being upset by this. The more attention we give this clown, it doesn't seem to go away. He's like that bug, you know, he keeps swatting, doesn't go. That's what Jake Lang is, bro. He's a piece of human waste. He calls black people the N-word. This guy's bringing good things to America? No, he's not. You know, I was all for a lot of people being released because of the January 6th stuff. I wish they would have kept his ass in, though. Maybe that's what he did. Maybe that's how he got out. Maybe once he got arrested and he was held in, you know, for the January 6th riots, maybe he worked out a deal. You know, I never thought about that angle. Maybe Jake Lang, when he got arrested in the riots for January 6th, maybe to get out of prison, maybe he worked a deal out with a certain agency to do what they tell him to do. You know, I never thought about that angle. I don't know, Jake, is that how you got out? I'm just wondering. It's just a thought. I mean, did you strike a deal? I mean, I don't know. It's just really weird. Very strange, this character.
Get over.
Literally taking the bait, guys. I wouldn't have recommended this. The last thing you wanted to show is screaming Allah, because that's what he wants. Why do you keep taking the bait? The best way to get rid of the pest is to not feed him any energy. Stay home. Stay home. Play Xbox. Relax. Learn how to control your emotions, you know? Chill. He's a fucking clown. But when you go there, thousands of you screaming Allahu Akbar, you actually make him relevant. You make him, maybe he's credible. These guys are screaming Allahu Akbar, which is what he's claiming you guys want to do. Take over all of America and make it Allahu Akbar. So I think you're foolish. Dearborn, I know you guys follow me. I love you guys. I've met with you. I know you're not extremists. From what I could tell, I didn't see any extremism there. Why are you taking the bait, dude? Why not just stay home? Why not go to those nice hookah lounges, Let the fucking idiots pass. You know, the Albanians have a beautiful expression, bro. Shoja rrugs budalis. Let the moron pass. What do? Let's march. Let's scream. Allahu Akbar. Wrong move. I don't know who's advising you. You should stay home. Let the idiots come, protest, exercise their First Amendment right, which I fully support. They have every right to do it, even if I don't agree with their message. I will always be a free speech absolutist. I don't think that Jake Lang cares about free speech more than whatever agenda I think he's really up to. That's my opinion. But stay home, dude. You guys are helping them. You're helping him with this type of nonsense because they're going to clip these clips. It's going to make more people think, well, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. So I think it's the wrong move. I think you guys should stay home. And the more you fuel it, the more he's going to come back. Stupid move, bro. You got to love that they have the white girl going all. She felt safe, bro. She was like, I'm with these guys. I promise if you guys just would have stayed home, they would have came, they would have had no one to interact with. The mayor, who's very intelligent, would have handled this, and it wouldn't have been half as big. You guys helped it. You guys fell for the bait. You took the trap. I highly recommend, if that idiot comes back again, just stay home, dude. Stay home, or go to work, or go to a hookah bar. What do you care, dude? Use your brains, man. Use your fucking brains, dude.
For 3 years straight, the #1 name in the country of England for newborn babies is Muhammad. Tell me that white Christians are not being invaded. How can you lie to our face?
Yeah, they're not being invaded, stupid. They're not getting married and having kids because you've taught them how to be full of lust and enjoy life and don't think about the future and don't think about the country and don't think about the next generation. Has nothing to do with Muslims living there. It has to do with Brits and Western Europeans not wanting to get married and have kids anymore. That's what's going on. That's the real reason the birth rate's inverted. I agree, maybe you've allowed in more than you should have, but you also should have stopped bombing those countries, invading them. And then the open border policies have nothing to do with the people that came there. So you should be pissed at your politicians. So Jake Lang, stop lying, bro.
Faces with your takia. This is an invasion on all fronts. Our people are being pushed out of the workplace. We're being pushed out of city councils. That smug face of the Taqiya Muslims needs to be wiped off these people's faces. These people are looking to destroy us. These people are looking to outbreed us. The Muslims have not come here.
Even if they only had 3 kids per household, they're still going to outbreed the common white man. I hate to break it to you, bud. Europe is such a catastrophic birth rate, and it looks no hopes of turning back. And the policies and financial and what it costs to have a family, which has nothing to do with the Muslims, it's become so expensive, people are scared to have kids. The outlook is looking not too bright. People are scared to have kids. I can't tell you how many people I've met. And bring a kid into this world, something that people, looked forward to, getting married, having a family. Complete opposite has happened in many Western societies. People look at it like a luxury now. It's something you do maybe if everything's perfect, if everything's right, if I have enough money and she's cool and he's... It's like we got it all backwards. That's why the birth rates are negative, and I'll debate anybody in the world about that.
To assimilate. That's right. They have come here to steal the wealth of this land, to rape our women. That's what about the 250,000 women in England that were raped by Pakistani Muslims, and they got little slaps on the wrist from the woke Democratic regime? The Muslims are being used by the Democrats to instill socialism in America. That's right. We know it. Look at all of your top Muslim leaders. They all pander to homosexuality, the trans agenda, and to socialism.
Complete opposite of the faith Islam, completely impermissible. You can't even dance around that subject. Islam is as conservative as it gets when it comes to alternate lifestyles. So that's 100% inaccurate.
You're fake Muslims. You're just using the Democrats, these woke liberal idiots, the women in New York, to gain power. And once the Muslims have power in this country, then...
Like what other group, Jake? What other group really has power in the U.S.? What group has the most powerful lobby? What group controls a lot of other things that have been really affecting public policy, including NGOs and lobbies and rules and policies? And they sat in the White House. They sit on Congress and Senate. Our politicians take trips over there and kiss a wall. What group? Because it's not the Muslims. So worry about the group that doesn't have any power in this country. Forget about the group that's been running the country pretty much. Ignore who got us here. Worry about the ones that are coming. There's not going to. I got a newsflash for my fellow Americans. By the time Muslims are ever even close to being a perceived threat in the U.S., to even have the numbers, 1% of the population, I don't think our country will even be here. What you should be worrying about is the people that have been in power for the last 50 years, where they've been getting their money from. Why are they sending our boys and girls to die in wars? Who have those wars benefited? Because it hasn't benefited America. What group of people have benefited the most from all the wars, all the policies, have one of the most powerful lobbies, control most of the banks and huge corporations, insurance, you name it? It's not the Muslims. It's definitely not the Muslims. So are you more worried about who got us to where we are on the path for destruction, or there might be this threat in the future? Sounds like a cover-up. Sounds like a distraction. Sounds like a false flag in the making. Sounds like the only trick that they got, the only plan that they got, and you're stupid if you fall for it. You're fucking stupid if you fall for this nonsense.
They will start throwing the homosexuals off the roofs, just like they do in Palestine. You guys all cry about Palestine. Try being a white Christian man preaching the word of God in Palestine. Guess what might happen to you? The same thing that happened to me here in Dearborn, Michigan. You will be stoned for saying the name of Jesus Christ in Palestine, in Afghanistan, in Yemen, in Iraq. Jesus Christ is outlawed in those countries, and we will stand. The crusade has begun. Your time in this country is running short. The time of stealing from the Detroit black Christian Americans is over. It's over. Muslims go home before we send you home. We have cruise ships, we have planes, we have trains, and we're going to pack them out with all of the Arabs. You have to go home. We don't want you here. Our founding fathers gave this country to their posterity. White Christians, and they brought along with them their black friends, and now we're here to reclaim America for the black.
White Christians, and they brought their friends along. You mean slaves? They were slaves, right? They didn't bring them. They didn't ask them. They didn't say, hey, hi, I'm sure they showed up. So the ancient Europeans that came to America, you know, the ones from 500 years ago, they went to Africa. They said, hi, my name's John Smith. I'm from London. Kunta Kinte, would you like to come to America? This guy made it sound like they were friends and the blacks wanted to come with them. And let's listen to that one more time, bro. I can't believe what I just heard here.
To their posterity. White Christians, and they brought along with them their black friends, and now we're here.
He literally said the founding forefathers, white Christian men, brought along their black friends. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I cannot believe what I'm hearing come out of this idiot's mouth.
Here to reclaim America for the blacks and the white people and the Spanish. We will not allow...
You heard how someone said in the crowd, don't you hate blacks? Did you hear that? Look, I'm not making this up.
We will...
Don't you hate blacks? You heard it. So the fact that there was even a Christian pastor, black, that stood next to Jake and was on the advertisement for this march, he should be ashamed of himself, bro. The guy calls black people the N-word.
We will not allow these third world mongrels to run roughshod over us without a fight. The body of Christ is one. If you are in Christ, you are my brother. If you stand against Islam, you are my brother. If you are willing to stand up and take this country back, you are my brother. Join the Crusades and extricate this filth from our country. We will have our way. Come blood or sweat, we will have our way.
Sounds like terroristic threats to me. If I've ever heard with blood. So how do you get blood? You got to hurt someone, kill someone, or injure someone. If a Muslim even spoke half the way Jake Lang speaks in America, he'd be in prison, he'd be in Guantanamo Bay. I would be in jail if I spoke like Jake Lang. I speak about peace and bringing people together, and I still have to worry about that, believe it or not. So is it the Muslims that are threatening your First Amendment, your free speech, and surveilling you and setting up all these systems, or is it this psychopath that can say whatever he wants?
This is your Christian land. Christ is king.
Let's see here. Jake Lang brought his Jewish Crusader circus to Dearborn and got smoked for the second time. Jake Lang speaks in front of Dearborn. So here's this, okay? Another thing I definitely don't recommend. So the neo-Nazis showed up to the Jake Lang march. Let's see what happened here.
Free Palestine! Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler! Christ is Lord! Free Palestine! Heil Hitler! Jesus the wall! Let Israel burn! Let Israel burn! Hail Hamas! Hail Hezbollah! Hail the Houthis! Hail Iran! Down with Israel! Free Palestine! Hail Hitler! Hail Hitler, brother! Hail Hitler! Free Palestine! 100
Jake Lang is bringing out the best in America, man. This guy is, by the way, for those of you that don't know, that's him. Al, switch the shot, please. Other side. There's only two sides. This is a real picture of Jake Lang. He doesn't deny it. That's his ancestry, his mother, his family. Okay, it looks like a real good Christian to me. Jake Lang is a good Christian. Great Christian. I really wonder where his loyalty is. So it's funny. And then you see these neo-Nazis coming out, and they're not siding, right? So that's what I've said this before. Jake Lang claims to be defending the white man, white supremacy. The minute the real white supremacists, like these guys, like real Nazis, find out that you have Jewish blood in you, you're no longer considered white, Jake Lang. Okay, they won't even accept you in the white supremacy movement. So who do you really represent, bro? I would have to say you're an agitator to distract from what's going on with this group of people over here and to run cover for your cousins, bro. That's what I think. And I think everybody can see it that has half a brain. But if anyone ever questioned, do the white supremacists endorse Jake Lang? Here you go.
Free Palestine! They're bombing the Middle East, mother! Let Israel burn! Do from the beginning. PSS after World War II.
Unreal, dude. Unreal. Look at this fucking idiot. Here.
Woo! We're going to take our country back.
Here is Jake Lang speaking at Dearborn Church. And who was he next to? An African-American preacher, black, when Jake Lang calls them the N-word. What else do you want to know?
We're going to take our country back.
That's right!
Woo! America was founded by Christian men with principle, okay? The people that have usurped Detroit, I mean, just 2 miles from here, they are siphoning your wealth. They are stealing the land from you, right out from underneath your feet.
The last I checked, it's the monetary policies of our country which are controlled by a different group of people, Jake Lang, for those of us that have half a brain. Last I checked, there wasn't any Muslims on the Federal Reserve, Jake Lang. And using interest is forbidden in the religion of Islam, as it is in Christianity. And I find it interesting that you use the word usurp when usury is forbidden in Islam, but it's not for your cousins.
Shame!
Too many years in prison for President Trump and for this great nation to come out and to be shallow, to be a coward. I will stand for Christ.
Come on!
He's so full of shit that the way his eyes blink, it's like anyone that knows how to read body language, dude. But this pastor, like, does he know that Jake Lang uses the N-word? That's how he describes black people. Does the pastor know that? Was he that stupid?
Jesus Christ. Every single corner, every single street in this nation, we can preach the word of God.
Thank you, Jesus.
And if we can't, then we must stand right.
Come on!
An oppressive religion, if there is some type of mongrel third worlders here that are going to stone us for preaching the name of Jesus, we must stand. Like our forefathers did. The people who claim this nation, we're not afraid. That's right. So why do we have the spirit of fear, Detroit? Why are we in our homes cowering while these people are building a paradise off of your money?
It's sick. Literally every accusation is a confession, bro.
You see what they're building every single day. They are taking more from you and feeding their family with their 4 or 5 wives, right? Multiplying like cockroaches. They are outbreeding us, and they're stealing our wealth, and they're taking over the local government. They are changing the way we govern ourselves. In Hamtramck, they just made killing animals in sacrifice legal. Right out from underneath our feet, just a couple miles from here. Are you kidding me, Americans? The laws are changing. The demographics are changing. White people and black people, we're not having enough babies.
That's right.
And that's the Muslims' fault? That you can't get married or grab a woman and impregnate her? I mean, if you want some help, Jake, with your wife, if you ever have one, I mean, I might be able to come and teach you if you need some help. I'm not saying I would do it. I would coach you because no one's stopping you guys from having kids, bro, and getting married. So I don't see, how that's the Muslims' fault. Oh, you mean the Muslims are conservative by nature. They believe in the family unit. They have a wife. They have kids, right? How is it the Muslims' fault that white and black people are not having enough babies? Can you explain that one to me? How does that work? What is it? Every time you want to screw your wife, a Muslim pops up and says, no, don't put it inside of her. Like, how is the Muslim stopping you, whether you're white or black, from having children? Is a Muslim popping up going, no, stop. So I don't get it.
Fight back in the bedroom. Come on, Americans. I want to represent you.
Yes.
Editor, you can blur out the symbols on this one when we make the segments. So that's what he is. My advice to the people of Dearborn is stop being antagonized by him. Completely ignore him. Stop giving him the response and the reaction that he wants. You're playing right into his hand. You should have learned this the last time. Stop. Stop paying attention. Go drink some Yemeni coffee. You have plenty of coffee shops in Dearborn. Go drink some Yemeni coffee, smoke some hookah, and chill, dude. Chill the next time this idiot comes, man. I'll tell you one thing, though. This footage is a lot better than Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire, that movie they made, Run, Hide, Infidel. They should have just used these clips. Jake Lane, though, got a little treat as he was... I believe this is from yesterday. So as he was leaving, he got a little a present as he left the Dearborn area. Let's take a look at this video.
You're gonna have problems. Yeah. Clear.
Yes, but I mean, I'm burning books today.
Okay. I'm going back.
Oh, am I free to go? Hold on. I'm gonna do what I need to do.
I plan on putting 2 drones on the ground right here and burning them and then getting the fuck out of Dodge. Is that my record?
What? This is insanity.
On May 10th, 2026, Edward...
So this wasn't right now, Al. This was in May. Yeah. Whatever. He loves getting arrested. He gets arrested every couple of days, this guy. Armed counter-protest was arrested as anti-Islam protest in Dearborn after allegedly pointing a rifle at a protester. So this is the type of stuff that happened. This could have went south very quickly. I would advise all Americans to exercise restraint when they have these types of agitators coming to your neighborhood, creating chaos for no other reason except to create chaos. There's no real agenda here except to distract and create a perceived threat, which plays into the hand of the globalists to maybe start a civil war in America and distract from the crimes, the financial crimes, war crimes, human crimes, cover-ups. I mean, there's no other real reason here, in my opinion.
arrested for refusing to speak with the police. I'm not touching anyone, sir.
See you later, bud. Pulling guns out.
For what cause? You didn't give me probably. And there's tons of people, so you just take anyone's word. We took multiple. Oh, police officers.
If you know it, so stay cool.
Yeah, these fucking idiots don't know how anything about this gear, too.
No, we're trying to do the less amount of
I'm really upset because I'm being arrested for invoking my First Amendment rights.
All right. You have the right to remain silent. Everything you say can and will be used against you. The National Lawyers Guild number is 313.
I'm under arrest for being silent. They said I had to walk over and talk to them, and I refused. And so I'm being arrested.
What side I'm on. I don't give a fuck anymore. There's no reason for your face to be covered. I don't give a fuck. We're ready to die. You get that? Point that gun at us again. Point it at us again. He took his shirt off. He's running away.
This country's being pumped full of hatred. Pumped. Because they need to hide their crimes, you know? So they pump it full of air, light the match, set the whole country on fire. Okay? But if you live in Dearborn, Plano, like, just stay home, dude. Stay home. Why are you giving these people the footage they want?
Over in Michigan, you can see some of the aerial video that's coming into our newsroom as we follow this developing story here with the help of our Fox 2 Detroit team. Now, Dearborn police making several arrests after a large protest that were sparked by the arrival of anti-Islam activist Jake Lang. Fox 2 Detroit's Robin Murdoch joining us live in Dearborn with much more on what happened. And I'll say, Robin, that video is definitely unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty quiet out here now. Very different scene than what it was like, Josh, in that video. Just a couple of...
And that's how Dearborn is, man. It's just quiet, relaxed. You know, I spent a week there. It's just really a small town. I'm not crazy about it. No offense to people that live there. Like, there's nothing special about it. It's like a suburb, in my opinion.
That were out here, both sides very passionate about their beliefs. You could also see pushing and shoving at times. Demonstrators at one point, they even knocked down barricades, all of that leading up to the city council meeting. I want you to take a listen now to what Jake Lang and the Dearborn mayor had to say last night.
Tell me that white Christians are not being invaded. How can you lie to our faces with your taquilla? This is an invasion on all fronts. Our people are being pushed out of the workplace. We're being pushed out of city councils. That smug face of the Taqiyya Muslims needs to be wiped off these people's faces.
They are attacking the idea that all of us can belong to America at the same time. There are people outside tonight whose idea of America is much smaller than ours. An America where belonging comes with conditions, where your name matters, where your ancestry matters, where the direction in which you pray somehow determines whether you are sufficiently American. I reject that vision for our country, because what matters is not the articles of your faith. What matters is the content of your character.
I agree with the mayor there, 100%. So, this is him. He's a fucking clown, and he's a disgusting human being. And he's a piece of shit, in my opinion. And he'll pay for it on Judgment Day when he has to face God. So that's what's going on. That's kind of what we missed.
Report that multiple sailors
Some
aboard
things that I guess I'm going to run through these next stories pretty quickly. So we keep hearing about the Iran war. So if you like segments like this, you like to hear about what's going on across the globe, right here in America. If you want someone that does all the homework for you and keeps you in the know, click the subscribe button right now. Drop a comment. Check out my community, the Companions. You can go to the iStore. You can go to Droid and download the Companions app. And I will be in there after this live stream. So if you want to come hang out and we can shoot the breeze a little bit and talk about everything I spoke about on the show, I'd love to see you in there. Download the app, support the work, join my community. It's absolutely amazing. The Companions is a spiritual fraternal order. Next segment. Donald Trump keeps telling us the war's over, it's back on, it's off, I'm going to bomb everyone, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And now he's saying the Strait of Hormuz is completely under U.S. control. Let's take a look at this clip and let's see what's really going on.
About what? Reopen negotiations. Maybe at some point, but right now, I think the situation is so good, but maybe at some point. Look, it's very simple. They have to get rid of no nuclear weapons. Iran cannot have a nuclear. You know why? Because they'd use it, and we're not going to let them use it. So Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. About what? Reopen negotiations.
So that's what he's saying. Then you have the Yemen Houthis. They're saying that they were able to squeeze Saudi Arabia really hard from July 20th to August 19th. Let's see what they have to say about it.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Mu'izz al-Mu'mineen wa Qasim al-Jabbar. Natahaddath arsala rasul.
Okay, I don't know. This is not translated. It claims in this speech 9 operations in response to strikes on Sanaa's airport. On top of that, the Houthis say they carried out 14 more attacks on Saudi military buildups. None of that full tally has been independently verified. So that's what the Houthis are saying. Then the Iranian MP, Ibrahim Razal, no Israeli ship or vessel has the right to enter the Strait of Hormuz. So on one side, you have Trump saying we got complete control of it. On the other side, Iran, who has had control of it, says that no Israeli ship will get through. So who really controls the Strait of Hormuz?
اومده و در این طرح اشاره شده تاکید شده که
In this plan, that hostile vessels
جناورهای متخاصم
and even espionage and intelligence vessels that might potentially pose a threat to the national security of the Islamic Republic of Iran are not allowed to enter or pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't matter if it's a ship or a vessel, military or civilian from the Zionist regime. They are not allowed to enter there. So I don't know how that works. If Trump thinks that he has control of the strait, yet Iran's promising that Israeli ships will not go through.
USS Abraham
Now,
Lincoln
in order to enforce these blockades, a lot of American soldiers that have been stuck on one of the longest deployments on a ship in U.S. history, reports have it that they've been jumping off the vessels to get off the boats that are near the Strait of Hormuz. Let's check out this clip from Mainstream and dissected by my friend, and I've been on his show multiple times, Jimmy Dore. Let's check it out.
to jump overboard amid poor conditions and mental stress on the ship. This is according to new reporting from the Military Times.
So that's not CNN's reporting. They're re-reporting the Military Times telling you that. They're jumping overboard because the conditions on this Navy ship are so horrible. And by the way, they've been at sea for over 250 days straight, which is a mental torture. So they don't have food to eat. They don't have toothpaste. I don't know if you remember, there were stories about, hey, there was a fire in the laundry room, so now this Navy ship has to return to port. They were setting these fires because they wanted to get the hell out of there. They know that they're not there defending the United States. They know they're there fighting for Israel, which makes them want to get out of there even more. If they thought that they were defending the United States, I bet they would stick it out. And
so that's what's going on.
Great. You pay your electric bill, but
that's what's going on.
They would have better.
This Iran thing is nowhere near done. I don't care. And I know that Israel's not going to give up its ambitions. And this war might have some temporary breaks and pauses, but it's going to be a while. So Trump has announced that the U.S. is leaving NATO because European nations refuse to join his war against Iran. I don't know if this is true.
Not sticking together.
Iran has received $7.5 billion oil-related foreign currency revenue from the first 4 months of the year, which was made available to the central bank, reports the semi-official fans. B-2 bombers considered the most expensive military aircraft in the world. B-2 Bahrain is burning in the sky. Iranian missile reportedly hits the target. I can't confirm any of this. I can't confirm this. Iranian drone hits the fuel holes while a fighter jet is being refueled midair. They know how to hit their enemies. This is released by them. I don't know if this is true. Again, it could be. That thing's just shooting fuel all over the sky. All it needs is one little spark. They are discussing using nuclear weapons in Iran. You read that correctly. It's real. This is former Congresswoman MTG. The last time a nuclear weapon was used was on August 6th and 9th of 1945 in Japan during World War II. So who knows? The last thing I trust is the people in power and the mainstream media. Professor Jang just dropped one of the most insane warnings. America's war with Iran ends with tactical nukes and the end of civilization. So now, it's just the end of life as we know it. So I ask my fellow Americans, is it worth it, dude? Is it worth letting these maniacs take us into this type of chaos? I don't think so. I think most of us are sick of it. My generation has seen nothing but war. The first war I remember as a child was the first Iraq war, Desert Storm, if I'm not mistaken, is what it was called. First one, Desert Storm. So, I don't know. Iran has agreed to a deal on everything. We will take the uranium out of the country and bring it to the U.S. We will pay nothing in return. Iranian official, he's lying. No one knows what to believe. So this is new air defense system have entered service in Iran. Is that thing actually hit it, bro? Yeah. Again, I cannot, I don't know if this is real, not real AI, but it looks like it could be real. It's posted on Iran military updates, and it shows a B-52 being taken out. Iraq's government revenue collapsed 42% in June as the Iran war hammered oil exports. So everyone in the region's feeling it, dude. Feeling it. So
when they wouldn't send a small amount of military armament, when they wouldn't send just even acknowledge what we were doing for the world and taking on Iran, I never considered it very risky, but war is always risk. A lot of strange things happen in war that are very bad, but I didn't consider it. I know how great we're the greatest military by far anywhere. There was nobody close. I didn't think.
Is that why that regime's still standing? The Strait is being held hostage. We got a worse deal now than we had before. Is that the signs that we're the greatest military in the world? Our soldiers are jumping off ships. The young generation definitely doesn't want to fight. I've spoken to many of them. They're like, I don't give a shit if I get drafted. So it sounds like a crumbling empire is what it sounds like. Sounds like a crumbling empire is what it sounds like.
I think there was a big risk, but there's always surprises with war. They can be very bad surprises. I mean, wars are lost that should be won. Many wars are lost. You think a country is going to wipe somebody out and they end up getting wiped out themselves. So it's always risky.
So he's basically even saying like anything could happen, because that's going to calm the markets. That's going to calm the average American down. Anything could happen. War is crazy. Yeah, that's why we try to avoid war. We should avoid it. All we've done is bomb people for the last 30 freaking years.
I think a tremendous mistake was when NATO just wasn't there. They just weren't there. It's going to make a lot of money for the United States because we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO, hundreds of protecting them. And we would have always been there.
Sounds like maybe we're cutting some budget somewhere because we're so in debt. And it sounds like a cute excuse, but it sounds like our country's bleeding out and we need to cut somewhere. So I guess NATO's the first one up. So again, I don't trust anything from these sites. I don't know if any of these videos I've shown you are even real. Do your own homework. As far as trending today, let's take a look. Let's see. I don't see anything here. I was sad to hear that Dan Blazarian may have lost his election, but he's claiming that it was stolen from him. So that's another developing story, but I'll report back when I have more on that. California Senate passes bill critics dub Stop Nick Shirley Act. British vlogger confronts stalker on rural Odisha road. Miami mother arrested for pouring hot wax on daughters and setting kitchen on fire. What the hell is wrong with the world, bro? What is wrong with the world? 4 deputies from the Harris County Sheriff's Office in Texas have died by taking their own lives in the past 6 weeks. Something very strange is going on here. Do you think they uncovered a trafficking operation and were silenced? I don't know, but that is fishy.
Also today, friends and family said goodbye to veteran Harris County Deputy Christina Caller. Her death last week was ruled a suicide. Caller is one of 4 current or former Harris County deputies who've taken their own lives in just the last 6 weeks. ABC 13's Jessica Willey is live tonight, and this is leading to important conversations about the need for support, Jessica.
Yeah, Eric, the department has a behavioral health division that has made great strides since it was established in 2020 and has led the way, its director says, among law enforcement agencies. But these recent deaths are raising serious concerns for the deputies' organization. The question is, what more should they be doing?
It caught a lot of us by surprise.
Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Christina Kohler left home last week and was never seen again. Houston police issuing this alert. The 37-year-old found on the 13th. She had taken her own life. 3 days later, Maria Vasquez, who left the department in December, died by apparent suicide. William Bozeman, also a former deputy, died earlier this week.
That's very strange. Something doesn't sound right there. Just doesn't sound right there. So yeah.
Prepare for 6 months of food.
So if you like stories like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Drop a comment. This is your boy Bek Lover. I cover all the stories from around the world and the country. Make sure you drop a comment, share, like, and join my community, the Companions. Download the app. Get in there, man. I'm always on there. You want to talk? You want to see me in real life? You want to speak? Join the community. Spiritual Fraternal Order, the Companions. We do amazing things. Everyone in there is talking business, talking about life, talking about what may be coming our way. I'm in there all the time. I would really love for you to join us. You can be on there in less than 5 minutes, bud. Right after this stream, I'm going to go in there and hang out with the rest of the Companions. Download the app right now in the iStore or head over to the Droid Android store. Available now, the Companions. You can fuel the work, help me expand, be a part of my family, and have access to amazing human beings who actually care about the world. Come check it out. Today, let's see what my boy Nino brought up. There's all kinds of things going on right now. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you check out the community also. Let's do this. Let's see.
Food, meaning dried, freeze-dried, or canned, with 2,000 calories per day per person, because over the winter, the supply chain globally is going to collapse, including the United States. The crops are failing. There's not enough food to be produced at all. What we have now, a lot of it was from last year that they held over, and they said that the winter is going to be severe in the growing areas, and that even water supply is going to be low. Not to count on refrigeration, because electricity.
Hold on, let me get this right. This is globally, correct, or just Europe?
No, this is the United States.
So you know how they do the revelation of the method. They tell us exactly what they're going to do as they pretend to care about us. Here's Sam Altman of OpenAI.
One dystopia that I'm particularly nervous about 10 years from now is we overreact to AI safety. And so we say, look, everyone, you're going to get a cure for cancer. You're going to
decide what temperature your house should be on. Take a look at this.
have material abundance, but you will have no freedom.
Prepare.
All right. So you know how.
So
thermostat
I
was
want to
70.
get into. I want to get into
items in the
whole
American
AI
grocery store.
I want to get into the whole AI thing here. But yeah, this was that segment I was playing earlier. Okay. Here we go. You guys ready? Disturbing development. They are now talking about how there will be microchips inside of medicine so that literally law enforcement and the government can keep tabs if you took medicine prescribed. That's a little crazy. People think of the mark of the beast that has to go into your hand. I think they're actually going to make people swallow this thing and it gets into your bloodstream is what it sounds like. But this is deeply disturbing news. Now let's check it out. Let's see how the tech will all come in. AI, surveillance, camera systems, drones, robotics, the Internet of Things, and complete loss of your autonomy as a human being on this planet. Even so much so that they'll tell you when you have to take your medicine. You don't obey them, possibly a drone shows up or a robot, or you get arrested, or you lose privileges. Okay? It's here. It's here. You're just in denial. I'm here to wake you up. Okay?
Imagine getting your house raided simply because a computer told the police that you didn't take a mandatory medication. In case you're finding the thought too far-fetched, we ask you to take a close look at this FDA news release. And now listen to the CEO of Pfizer explain the implications.
Again, maybe I will use an example. I think it's fascinating what's happening in this field right now. I mean, FDA approved the first electronic pill, if I can call it like that. So it is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet. And once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance.
Imagine the implication of that. Imagine if I take that pill and shove it right up your ass, and then I do it to your mom and your dad right after. Imagine that's what's going to happen with that pill. We shove it right up your ass. Because that's the only thing I can imagine doing with that pill, because I will never take that pill. But to put it in your ass, no problem. That's what I would do.
The insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field.
If you found this valuable, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon.
So I was down in Texas for a while, March through June. And I saw these things flying over my head nonstop.
How they do the revelation of the method. They
Nonstop,
tell us
I saw the machines flying.
Bro, this is security right now.
Do you understand? First they desensitize you. They put the robots out. This one looks like a dog. Then they add a weapon to it. Do you understand where this is going? Do you understand that you won't be able to push back? That literally stepping outside of your door when you're not allowed to will be certain death or arrest or injury? Like, that's a lot of power to give people. That's what's coming.
Hi, oh, it's waving.
It's waving. And all you see on the internet is people are scared. People know what's coming. Like this girl, she's a prepper.
You had to survive completely on your own. Could you fucking do it? For how long? I just watched The Last House on Netflix. That family has to go.
I just watched that movie and it was stupid. What a stupid. It started out like pretty cool. I'm like, okay, they get locked in the house. Spoiler alert. I found it to be stupid as hell, especially the creatures in that film. Absolutely idiotic.
A long time stuck inside their house. This was stuff that they had. It got me wondering how long I could last on my own. I've spent the last 2 years teaching myself how to survive without the help of anyone else. Let me break it down. I taught myself how to grow.
Good. You should teach more women to be just like you because none of them want to get married anymore. So you guys might as well all learn how to do this stuff. And, you're definitely going to need those zucchinis there that you have there, those cucumbers. You're definitely going to need them since you did it all by yourself. You're going to need some big cucumbers probably.
All my own fruits and vegetables, but in South Dakota, you've only got about 5 months to make that happen. Thankfully, I'm not stuck inside, but the pressure to grow enough to survive on, that part I understand. I figured out how to make it last. All of the excess produce gets preserved. Canning and even vacuum sealing can extend the shelf life for fucking years. And I learned how to be inventive. Family in the movie has to repurpose basically everything. Clothes, tools, random shit in their garage. My stakes aren't quite that high, but I can make pretty much everything from scratch. Like wheat berries into flour, and then flour into whatever the fuck I need. So how long? I honestly think I could survive for 2, 3, maybe even 5 years. Let this be your sign to teach yourself some basic fucking survival skills.
You do have a bunker there. Is there something you know that we don't?
No, I think that's just like a little shelter.
Like I don't want to talk about it. Like I don't want to talk about it. Like all the billionaires are ready, and you guys are about to be hung out to dry. Like, don't worry about that. Like, you know.
Under, and it's like
a little shelter. What are you worried about?
I can't decide whether I should move to Florida or should move to.
These are voices of all the billionaires, from Zucky Boy to Teal. He already left, from what I understand. So they're getting ready for something. It's not a conspiracy, okay? There's a reason they're all building super bunkers. There's a reason why all the surveillance is being let out. It's a very scary time coming our way. I promise you. I promise you.
You know, New Zealand or Costa Rica or something like that.
This is an Oppidum, a type of luxury doomsday bunker that could soon be underneath the mansions of some of the world's richest people.
Oppidum creates underground living spaces that are highly secure and completely discreet, yet beautifully appointed and
I'm here to look at a bunker. And I was like, what are you looking at a bunker for? I know. And he's like, the shit isn't going to be good. He goes, all these layoffs you're saying, it's going to be over 1 million by the end of the year.
I believe it. And what's bothering me is we're rushing into it without thinking, without disclosure. The average American doesn't understand any of this. They're living their lives. They have other things to think about. They're worried about their kids, worried about getting a home, maybe possibly taking a vacation this year for the first time in several years. They're not like, what documentary can I watch on one of my many apps that I can't afford? These are luxury problems. And they're just going to wake up one day and, yeah, there's going to be riots, or there's going to be mass dissension, or you're going to need a bunker and they can't even afford an apartment in the Bronx. So
I think it's very strange that more and more fruit are becoming seedless. If you don't have the seeds, it means you cannot plant your own food. This directly to the fact that Bill Gates is buying up massive seed banks. And scientists are saying that we only have 60 years worth of agriculture left based on the levels of mass destruction that we are having with our soil. What happens when we have a mass food supply shortage? The one who control the seeds are going to control the food supply. It means that they get to do whatever they want to the seeds. Your next vaccine, let's just infuse it into the seeds. Let's just pop it into the fruits. They won't know. And so this is what you do about it. The revolution is going to happen when we all start planting our own fruit and vegetables. And to just show you that absolutely anyone can do this. Guys, I'm staying in an apartment, and the person's place that I'm staying at has no garden. They have a top balcony, and they've planted passion fruit, vines, grapevines, tomatoes, zucchinis, even a moringa tree. There's a moringa tree up there. It's actually...
I like that plan, actually. Everyone should just start throwing seeds everywhere. Literally, why are we going to the freaking supermarket when dirt is everywhere? God made the seed. God created the matrix. All you got to do is put that little baby down in the ground. I mean, I'm making it a little simpler than it is, but in essence, heirloom seeds, perfect weather, throw the thing down, save some seeds for the next year, and there you go. No one should be starving, even if the apocalypse happens. We all have some dirt in our backyards. Like, what are we doing, dude? What are we doing? There's so many ways out of this, but we're not together. We're not together. That's the problem.
These white bathtub rings, is this where the water used to be? Absolutely.
Brad Udall, a climate scientist at Colorado State University, went out on Lake Powell with us.
So all of this would have been underwater?
Yeah.
So what does this tell you about what's happening on the Colorado River?
Well, it's a signal of the long-term problem we've been seeing since the year.
Why is it? It's just been our signal. Why do people talk like that? It's been our signal.
2000, which is climate change is reducing the flows of the Colorado significantly.
And I've been out there. Al, I took you out there. And we saw that. We saw it drop. So me and Al, we both saw this together. We were in a lake where the levels were low, remember? Out in Lake Havasu or whatever it was.
It was in Arizona.
Yeah.
Lake Powell and Lake Mead, the two biggest reservoirs in the country, were nearly full in 2000. Today, they are at just about 30% capacity.
The lake's now 150.
Choose which way you want to die during Armageddon. Drought, starvation, tactical nuke, AI enslavement. What else? It's like, it's coming. It's coming. I love it.
55 feet below full. It's dropped something like 50 feet this year.
And it's still dropping.
Bad news of the missile variety. According to the Financial Times, Iran is threatening to extend its strikes into Europe. Specifically, it is looking at hitting Bulgaria's Besmer Air Base as well as the Royal Air Force bases on Cyprus. By the way, go check out GeoView for their geopolitical coverage. They're great. So, since this is the Under Report and we have to fact check everything, we have to ask the question, can they? This is the current confirmed strike envelope for Iranian missiles. I want to draw your attention specifically to this red line. That's about 2,000 kilometers out from Iran. And you'll notice it encompasses large areas of Eastern Europe, including...
Better not hit Albania, Iran. Please. Don't hit us, dude.
In Cyprus, Greece, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Romania, Moldova, and Ukraine. These are the areas that we know they can hit because they've made successful strikes here before. It's entirely possible they can go further as they launched one missile towards Diego Garcia, which is 4,000 kilometers away. So the answer to the question, can they, is yes. Will they? I don't know. Hit the link in the bio for free intel.
So that's pretty much what's going on now. We'll take this up again tomorrow. You watched another episode of Bek Reacts right here on the Bek Lover channel, where I cover all the stories. Make sure you drop a comment, click the like button, man. Share this with your friends and family. Make sure you subscribe. Come check out the community, the companions. I'm going to pop in there for a little bit. I'll be in the public chat. Download the app and then join, man. Support the work. Help us expand. And we'll have a lot of fun in there too, man. I wanted to say thanks to everyone that sent us whatever you sent us. I don't even know what half this stuff is. Shout out to Durex, Duru Pro, and everyone else that contributed today. Shout out to Al the Pal, the greatest of the companions. My brother has been in the trenches with me for 8 years, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing right here on the Bek Lover Podcast. Peace out.
Truth. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.